Hello everybody, it's Real Shade here again, and we're back with another lovely episode. This is episode 7. We're going to be watching Misery. I want to welcome you. My name is Jamie. It's Darren over there. Lovely resident artist Derry. She'll be working away in the middle of the screen as we talk about our fantastic choice today, Derry's choice today, and it's Misery. What a fantastic film. We'll be discussing that. On my left, you'll see the movie itself. We'll be going through the scenes and things like that. Feel free to comment. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're going to have this episode up all out during the week. We'll have split up episodes of each hour of the episode. So feel free to subscribe on YouTube and get commenting. We're on Twitch today. So we're going to be broadcasting live every week, pretty much. We're working on the schedule as is. You know, it's only episode 7. Give us a little bit of a break. So yeah, today's choice is Misery by Stephen King. Has anybody read the book?
No.
I have.
You have?
Do you know what's weird?
Okay.
I've only read 2 books in my life, like that I remember. And It is one of them, and Misery is the other. I started
Stephen King,
but I never. Yeah. Well, Misery book is closer to this film, or this film is closer to the book, rather than it. The miniseries was not as close to the book a bit, and now the new movies are closer to the book.
I think Stephen King only let the rights out to Misery if Rob Reiner was going to do it because of the way he did Stand By Me.
Yeah. It's very
yeah. Well, this is a movie that's not that very convoluted, and I feel like it is very convoluted in what it tries to do. Whereas Misery is fairly well established. Like, again, we talk about movies that would work perfectly on stage, and hey, I think this maybe there has been a stage production. I don't know, but
it's the Broadway of it. Bruce Willis and. Bruce Willis and what's her name? Laurie Metcalf was in it. I've seen it on stage.
Is it good?
It's fucking class. It's amazing. Like this was made for a play. This was because you could do it all in one room. But on Broadway, have you seen it, Jerry? On Broadway, you seen the set?
I haven't. No, I knew it existed, but I haven't seen it.
Well, Bruce Willis was on Broadway doing this. It's fucking class. Like the set on is one big rotating stage. So it's like a globe for all the world, but in one part of the globe is like the bedroom. And when he goes, as he's wheeling out the bedroom, the stage turns around, so he goes into the living room and he passes into the living room. It's fucking class. I think about this as well, because everyone keeps on about, it's made iconic by Kathy Bates. Like this, the iconic part of this movie is obviously with what happens with a sledgehammer and the thing. But no matter what version you watch, because I've seen on stage, and I still get that like shiver up my spine when I see that bit happening. Like whether it's live happening in front of me, whether I saw the trailer on Broadway, you just get the same feeling. So I think Kathy Bates on her version, but they say like Bruce Willis was saying they didn't want to even talk about that version because they wanted this one on the one they did to be their own version and their own thing, which it fucking was. It was so good. And the one I saw was amazing as well because it's all done in one room. It's made for stage.
Well, there you go. And as we go through the film, we'll probably see the fact that most of the play pretty much takes place in one room. There's a few outside scenes, but for the most part, you could absolutely do this on stage. We'll read a little bit of the summary of the film from our good old friend IMDb. Yeah, and they'll give us a general overview of nothing about the film. So let's start with that. So straight from IMDb, we have after a famous author is rescued from a car crash by a fan of his novels, he comes to realize that the care he is receiving is only the beginning of a nightmare of captivity and abuse. Yeah.
Essentially is what it is.
I think that's like it doesn't really for me it doesn't like when we were I think what was the movie that we had seen last week?
A Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, right? Maybe it was the movie before that. Like the description was like 2 paragraphs. It went on and on and on. Maybe it was for the craft or something like that. But that's a fine description. I'll give it that.
No,
Rob Reiner.
It doesn't sell it.
It doesn't sell it.
Yeah, I don't think it
If I
needs a
saw
whole-
that on a Netflix description, I wouldn't be sold to watch the movie.
Yeah, after a famous author is rescued from her car crash by a fan, yeah, he comes to realize that his care, like, it doesn't really open it up to anything. It's like, ooh, what could happen?
Yeah.
Rob Reiner is the director. Stephen King wrote the novel, and William Goldman was the screenplay writer. James Caan, is it Caan? It must be Caan.
James Caan, yeah.
Yeah, he's 2 A's. Fantastic as Paul Sheldon. Obviously, it's because it's like Stephen King writing about being a writer that is captured by a fan of his novels. I think he kind of put himself in that. I've never really seen Stephen King that much, but I think Paul or James Caan actually does a really good job of that coy writer type.
Yeah. Well, this is all based off what Stephen King was getting some serious weird letters been sent to him, and he always, like, obviously from there, it was a genius idea. Like, you some messed up people out there. You don't know what if some, like, just per chance if one of your fans ever, because we have so many fans, Jamie, you know, if
Never know.
like a fan ever had that control of you, you know, man, geez, you don't know. It's a fucking frightening thought. Like, not a fan.
Well, I think like the movie goes a lot deeper than that, even just from fan worship to something completely different. And yeah, we'll get into it. Like Kathy Bates, so good in this. Oh my God. Talk about showing like what I guess like schizophrenia, like a bipolar, like her facial expressions. We all talk about facial expressions. It's a Wonderful Life. It's like the actor making the scene, making all of the cinematography just because their face is in it. So we'll dive right into it. Oh, actually, I do want to mention Richard Farnsworth as Buster, the sheriff. Oh my God, the poor man. I think that was the saddest part of the movie for me.
But in the book, it's so much more than.
I feel like if it's in a book, you're reading it like, no, I want to stop reading this.
But I can't understand. In the book, he doesn't only get shot; something else happens to him after he gets shot because he doesn't die. And I was like, they showed everything else in the movie, and they wouldn't show what actually happens to him. I was like, Jesus Christ!
I'm kind of glad because that man, like, it's like that really grandfatherly old man, and you just want him to give you a hug. Yeah, like it's like he should actually be working somewhere proper instead of working for a 2-bit town.
So who saw the movie before? Has everybody seen the movie before?
I've seen the movie before as well. Yeah. This is one I really enjoy.
Yeah, my mother and dad are fucked up. I don't know about your mom and dad. Like my mother used to sit me in front of these movies when I was younger, and like when I'm talking like 6 to 7, seeing this, like, no wonder I'm not normal.
Well, blame your parents.
This is one of my mom's favorite movies as well, and I think I probably would have watched it definitely in my early teens anyway.
Yeah, but like, and forever, like, I would never have my feet sticking out of bed. Like most people think, oh, Paranormal Activity, I won't ever have my feet hanging out of covers. This is what did it for me.
Well, it's a pretty sorry state when you're getting to that and you're just like, just in case someone comes along and hobbles your fucking ankles. You never know. Oh my God, what a horrible scene. So we'll get stuck into it. No credit roll. I'm just saying, no credit roll. Well, actually, there is a credit roll, but it takes a second. As like a lot of these 90s movies just want to, do the flashy thing. It's like it did what The Craft did. It was like, oh, here's a bit of the movie. Okay, credit roll. So like
I haven't read the book, like I said, but it was like the prologue. So you got like a snippet, and then it went back to start the story before the crash.
I like it. Yeah. I like the way that you know what? Maybe I'm just going on about credit rolls all the time, but the way credit rolls have evolved, if you think, like, they inch more and more into, like, further and further away from the start of the film into the end. But it was good. I like the way that it came along. You see the champagne glass, the champagne. You see the cigarette,
Setup.
and the typewriter. It's a cool setup.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, nice little camera work. It's very, very, simple stuff, but it conveys that. I think, like, just with the single cigarette and everything, that like something is special is happening. There's something set aside. There's typewriting happening, and that obviously comes into it then later on. We get him then driving. He gets in his car, drives away. He's obviously accomplished.
Did he throw something against a tree? I watched it twice, but each time I can't remember. Was it just a snowball or something that he threw against a fucking tree?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a snowball. He was just like, still got it.
Right.
Still got it.
I thought he threw something like a bottle. Sorry, okay, go on, moving on. Sorry.
Yeah, he just compacted. Like, I wish it was like some person just looking away in the distance and just like at the back of his head. It's like, still got it. Drives away. So he drives away off into the distance. It's a snowy. Where did they say there were? Ohio or something like that. Nebraska.
I can't remember.
America. They're in the Americans.
Aren't all of Stephen King's novels set in Maine?
Oh, actually, yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, Maine, isn't it? So he's driving through the snow on an open. I was about to start singing that song. I don't know. Is that copyrighted? Can we sing that song? So lovely scene. This is where our credit roll is happening. We see him putting on the wipers. It starts off like a very TV start to a movie, doesn't it? Like the intro to an episode or one of those real crime dramas, Blizzard's coming around, getting difficult to see things, and then crash! Tumble, tumble, tumble down a hill. Ba-bum. I'm making all the sound effects. It goes down a hill.
Is this how we avoid the copyright of actually showing the movie?
Right, exactly. Ba-boom! So the car flips over and he's trapped inside. So not a big introduction to the character. He's kind of somewhat important, I imagine. He's done something worth noting. At this time, I will now remember to change to the Act 1 scene. Act 1. So, and let me move this down also. So, Act 1. We've already somewhat established the character. We haven't really got a lot into talking. I like films where there's not talking at the start for a considerable amount of time. I don't know how you guys are about that, but I like that. It eases you into the film. I don't like...
It just, there's a lot of talking instead. You're trying to listen to what they're saying and trying to instead just watching what's going on.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm not good at multitasking, Jamie.
Well, here's even a thing. Like, Saving Private Ryan was a really great film, and even that had a silent part at the start. You know what I'm talking about? It gives
Castaway.
Did it?
Castaway.
Full extreme.
Yep.
We're just going Tom Hanks right now.
But what can happen is that I think a lot of action-y films nowadays want to get you into the action straight away without having to explain a whole lot, and it's just like a little bit head-wrecking sometimes.
Yeah.
These films give you a little bit of an intro, give you a nice little bit of a description of the character, effectively, a description of the world. We've seen it in The Craft, we've seen it in Beetlejuice, The Crow. We're about 5 minutes in, and we kind of had the premise of the film. What I like about this film is that it subverts expectation a lot. For me, the car crash when Kathy Bates basically comes out, when Kathy Bates rescues him. I think it was trying to convey to the audience that it was like, oh, it's clearly a man trying to rescue him. Yeah. Did you guys get that? Like where it was like with their crowbar and they'll lift him up in the back and everything.
Yeah. Definitely. And the whole point was that Kathy Bates was cast because of her stature.
Yeah.
Because there was other people. I think Julia Roberts was up for the part.
Yeah.
No, she's supposed to be like a powerhouse, not a pixie.
And that I like the way that that's not a big thing until the end of the movie. Because in most movies, if you think, you're like, okay, a man as big as James Caan could probably kick the shit out of a woman that size, like in a fair fight, if both of them were in, perfect condition. But throughout the whole entire film, he's so fucked up, and by the end of it, he's still really fucked up. That I would believe that someone as kind of she's like a farmer as well, isn't she? She's kind of living on a farm.
It's less about her size and more about like the way she carries herself. Like I think what we were calling is like sturdy.
Sturdy. She's a heifer. She's some heifer.
I didn't say that.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing? A heifer.
You just called her a cow, like.
Hey now, that's a little bit crass for my liking.
Yes.
So, we get a little bit of CPR.
Was it supposed to be horror? Because I always had this theory. I know she says like that she knew he was staying there and all blah 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 later on, but like, did he just crash or did she? I know there's no evidence to show that she did that.
Yeah.
But like, in my mind, I'm like, I think she obviously did something to make a crash, but then again, they never showed anything. So that's.
I like those open questions. Yeah. I like that because I had forgotten when. Because I'd seen it before, I'd forgotten that she had said, "Oh yeah, I was like stalking you basically." And at the start, he was totally fine with it. But yeah, like had she done something here, had she put like a row of slippy bananas out, and then he just the banana routine, flip the car, and then boom, boom.
But clearly, she must have been following because if she was she couldn't just shown up at the fucking car wreck. Like, I think it's a bit too coincidental, but they don't say it, and obviously, except for she just knew it was no surprise that he was staying at the Silver Creek Lodge. Like, so I think.
But that's the thing. I think that actually makes it a little bit creepier, because at the start of the film, you don't really know that she's a stalker, and if you had seen someone stalking him, like let's say it was like him writing the typewriter and everything, and then you get a flash outside the cabin. And then you hear like heavy breathing from the bushes or something. You're like, oh, he's being stalked.
Yeah, it's a whole different movie then. Whereas I think it really leads you slowly into the realization that something's not right.
Yeah.
Like, with the character.
Like, he wakes up and she's like this grandmother type.
Yeah.
You know?
But you get that later on when she says to him then, oh, I used to peer up at your cabin and, like all this, so it does give you that, but it gives you in the right way where there's actually a build up to where you realize. I think without you even knowing that she's a fucking, but she is bipolar. So before you even get that, it just when you think she's kind of crazy a little bit, she just fucking snaps.
Well, this is the next scene. This is the next scene, effectively, and the setup for the fact that he's been kind of trapped by this mental woman, because you as the audience have been kind of taken in as well from that blizzard. And when I don't know, again, I think as an audience, you're a little bit more hesitant because you're like, okay, it's a movie, obviously something has to happen. So when she starts saying the stalking thing, I was like, oh, I'd be out of there. I'd be like, thanks very much. Please get me out of here. Please leave me alone right now. Goodbye. But you don't get that straight away. You get a nice little flashback. So, like you said, it is kind of the start to where we currently are, and then a flashback to him being in his agent's office. And it's the kind of setup for the film, the reason for the film in the first place. And it's kind of a nice woven. The way that they've done it is actually woven in.
And they have Lauren Bacall here as well. She's fucking fantastic.
Oh, the older lady, the agent.
She's a really famous actress. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I like the way that the character is trying to escape his current misery.
I like that he inadvertently, the thing that made her want to kill him is that he wrote one book and it consumed his life, nearly killed him.
Well, that's it. And it's like, that's a film that complements its own story by having stories within it that ebb and flow from the main story. Effectively, you have these little side stories. Like he accidentally created a hit romance novel. Like it looks like one of those cheesy romance novels with the painted cover and everything. It's just like, oh my god. But he obviously explains that he wanted to be a real writer. You know, he had this leather case. I think he did. It said like, yeah, it carries it around with him. I think she describes. I think Kathy Bates later on describes the fact that he's superstitious. You know, he's clearly not in it just for the money. But it just seems like those kind of novels are for people that are just kind of in it for the money, that kind of way. You know, they're just cheap romance novels.
He wrote like books, and she's like could fucking talk about them word for word. But it's like what you just said later when she says about, I'm just even thinking about now. Every time she says something, it gets to a whole new level of fucking psychotic. Sorry, let's just move on because I'm getting excited to even think about the rest of the movie.
Well, with the agent, you kind of get a little bit of an explanation as to the character, his true motivations for wanting to do what he does, and you get a little bit of an empathy with the character, I suppose, like being stuck in a position that, hey, you wouldn't not necessarily, it's not like you wouldn't envy it, but imagine being stuck there that you can't actually change because maybe you're afraid to, or maybe your audience won't actually like what you have to say. Like a J.K. Rowling, when she started writing all of those murder mysteries, she changed the name of it because she just didn't want that legacy to come along with her.
I think you're either a good writer or you're not a good writer, but your one also, Lauren Bacall also says to him, really, it's funny, she's like, the one thing you wrote gave you your house, gave you a house in this place, this place, and this place. So, you know, maybe you shouldn't shoot yourself in the foot in so many words.
Yeah. And even at that, I think it's not necessarily the money that he wants. It's just the fulfillment of being a writer. And again, I think that kind of feeds into the fact that he's being held against his will for something, like you said, Darren, that he didn't even give a shit in the first place about. He's like,
but that's what I'm saying. He's like, the thing he hates the most, what he wanted, because technically, he killed, like in the last book, he killed Misery, was it? He did, yeah.
No, nobody killed Misery. It just happened.
Oh, no, so?
It just happened. She just had a miscarriage, man. Yeah. It wasn't me, man.
Never. But like, doesn't say he apparently had killed Misery, and like, you wouldn't obviously know that. So when that's it, like everything in this movie drives it so forward. Oh my god! It just it's like no, go on. I'm getting too excited. Sorry.
I was about to say, like, there's a lot of tension in it, even from bits where it was built, like the pre-tension was built earlier on in the film, and it kind of comes rising to the forefront a lot of the time. So these are all little bits of setup. And Act 1, you know, it contains a lot of really good stuff that normally in your Act 1, you're just kind of setting up the rest of what you want to happen in the film, your characters. But the Act 1 in this is basically setting up a lot of really good stuff about anticipation or like anxiety building. It's a very anxiety building film. Like when he's trying to escape around he's in a wheelchair, he has to get back in the that's like really, you're like, get in the chair, man. So I feel like all of these
again it's the music, man. Like they always say, if you watch a horror film without music, it won't be half as scary. Like, because I would never thought for years and years I would never thought music would have had that much of an impact in films. And fuck, it does. It has an impact on everything. Like if you're on stage and theatre or whatever. But
the music comes into it here as well.
Oh, but that's insane. But this movie, even like the start of it, the first act where when he wakes up in the bed and the song that's playing is just fucking eerie, and you hear that I'm your number one fan. That's it. I'm your number one fan. You're fucking
I'm crazy your number one fan. But yeah, so after the little flashback, he's basically still in the car. I think it's like for the purposes of prelogue, but I think it's because that's the last thing he remembers, let's say, or whatever, when in that car crash. So she gives him a bit of CPR, gets him out with a crowbar, gives him a bit of CPR, and holds him off. So at this time, I think, okay, cool. You have the nice little setup for the character themselves. He's hauled off back to your one's cabin, and you think it's a man, basically. I like you said, Darren, it's like that. We get to that part now where he's like, I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan. The music I actually noted down here is eerie but comforting. You're like, oh, it's nice, I guess. Like, okay, a little freaked out
nice
here.
for like a second, and after maybe 4 seconds, you're like, oh god.
Good. What the fuck? So she starts basically giving him pills, and I think maybe after like it's in the kind of human consciousness now, this film, you know. I think it's one of those things that just is a part of humanity. If you went to someone's house after a car crash and they were like, I'm your number one fan, and then started handing you pills, you're like, no, I know there's something wrong about this. But here he's fine.
This fucking movie. Jesus Christ.
But even at that, I think people are a little bit more cautious nowadays. You know, maybe
danger now, yeah.
Yeah. Just this random woman just handing you a bunch of red pills. We're gonna red pill you, man.
Oh, they're painkillers. Yeah, sure they are.
So she explains, okay, you know, I was the one to rescue you. I'm so glad I did, because, you know, you would have died out there. By the way, you have 2 horribly broken legs. Very badly broken legs.
Are in shambles. And I'm thinking,
did she do that? Because how did he break both of his legs and all his upper body was fine?
Like, I'm thinking, did she do something else to him when he was...
Did she, like, get the crowbar and just, like, smash his legs up?
It's not...
But that's what I like when you have films that have legs of their own, basically. Well, I just realized what I said, but you know what I mean. When they have that kind of... they get the audience to start telling their own stories. You're like, sorry if you can't hear me. I'm letting my cat in. But when the characters, you could basically infer, oh my god, she could have absolutely bet the shit out of his legs beforehand. So,
but see, at that point in the movie, I think you're still a little bit. I don't think you know. You're still kind of thinking that it's okay. Like, you're thinking maybe someone else is going to come along, or maybe she has a husband who's going to, you know.
Exactly.
You don't. She's still Granny. She's still the caring nurse with the cross on around her neck. You know, she's put across as that way. So I think you're still sort of. That's
it. That's what I feel like. Again, people watching this from the first time is like, okay, and the husband's going to come out and go, boy, howdy, you were in a storm there, or whatever. But it's like, no, it's just her on her own. And that's a little bit ominous. It's a little bit off. It's not completely wrong or anything, but it's like, oh, okay, well, that's a little bit unusual. The scene gets to the point where you're like, okay, this Kathy Bates one, there's something a little bit creepy about her. Even the way she talks, she's a little bit innocent, like a little bit is touched in the head. Yeah, are you still allowed to say things like that? Is touched in the head okay?
See, her whole character, there's a stern nurse, right? As like we all know one of them fucking nurses that just take no shit.
Matron.
But yeah, well, a matron, yeah. But then when you see her like change from a childlike wonder to when she's like holding the page that he's written and stuff, and she's so excited, I'm like, it's such a drastic fucking change. I'm like, holy shit, this girl is fucking nuts, fucking psychotic. So,
maybe Darren is only going to be able to answer this one, but have you ever started going out with somebody? And I think this is like the, you know, those stages of just starting to go out with somebody before you realize, oh my god, this person is fucking mental. And I don't know if guys are like that, because we're very obviously mental, except for psychopaths and the actual creepy guys, but you can spot those. If you know a guy's mental, like he's hopping over fences and running in front of cars, you're like, oh yeah, I like one of those adventurous bad boys. But when a guy starts going out with an innocent girl and you're like, oh yeah, okay, fair enough, I know what to expect. And then she's like, has a knife and, you know, oh, your two legs are broken, I'll take care of you. It's like, hey, I haven't talked to my mom in a week. It's like, what's happened? It's like, oh, nothing, it's fine. I called her for you. You're like, everybody thinks I'm dead, don't they? Like, I don't think.
What's the question?
What the question was, have you ever been in that situation where you've had another half, or maybe been going on regular dates or whatever, with somebody, and then eventually after like 3, because this is what it is. Like the whole movie is kind of like a montage. There's days pass, and you're thinking, okay, he's kind of settling into the place, and then he realizes, oh my God, I need to leave now.
What have I done?
Exactly.
No, I'd love to have some mad story now saying, "Oh yeah, I have." No, I
make up one, Darren.
More like that. I can create a scenario for you, but no, it'd be fake.
You could have.
When Amy met me, she was like, "He's kind of normal," and then like about 10 minutes after meeting me, she was like, "Yeah, what have I done? What have I done?"
Well, we should get Amy on here. Maybe she'll give us the story about meeting you. Maybe you are Kathy Bates. So
Amy, blink if you need help.
Totally.
So yeah, we don't get that much of an off tone effectively from Kathy Bates, but you kind of notice something's a little bit off. The agent calls the sheriff, and the sheriff, just the way he talks, and he just sounds so sweet, and he's just so joyful. He did a little post-it note, and he sticks it up on the board, and
we'll add his name to our system. I love that.
It's just like, oh man, I like you.
He's like, I have a system, and he's just moving papers around. He's like, there it is.
And like, what was the deputy is his wife? It's like,
I love their relationship. I love
her. Probably my favorite character in the whole movie. She is amazing. She's hilarious.
And she's an actress that's been in a few things as well, hasn't she?
She's a really good actress.
She's like one of those, background actors. Oh, I wouldn't say background actresses are. What's her name? Frances Sternhagen. Oh my God, she was. That's where I remember for. Have you ever seen Outland with Sean Connery? Where he's on the miling planet of Io, and is like a big thing. She's the doctor on that. Yeah, I recommend Outland with Sean Connery, but she's in that and she's very good. But I like her as an actress as well. She's like a staple in those 90s films.
Two of those together suited really well as husband and wife. They were fantastically cast.
Mm-hmm. The agent is like, I'm a bit worried. He didn't call when he was meant to get to New York. And the sheriff is like, I'm sure he's fine. Nothing ever happens around here. What I like about him is it's not like he's a complacent sheriff. It's like that town is genuinely boring as fuck, basically. That nothing happens there. He's a really, really good sheriff, because that. Coming back to this film after having not watched it in probably a couple of years, I forgot a few bits in it. And I like that about films because I kind of get a new perspective. At this point in my life, I was just like, oh, he's just a lazy sheriff. And I was like, I don't really remember what he does in the film. I was like, oh, he's not really going to give a shit. But, oh no, he goes down to like reading all of his novels. That's how much he wants to solve this issue.
Like you said there, but it's probably a boring town, and when he finally figures out that something could be wrong, because he goes into the fucking snow and he tries to find his car, and he's like finds like a branch broken on a tree, and he tells his wife to stop and stuff. So he's like, I think if it was more stuff happening in that town, he wouldn't have really cared.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
A lot because you're expecting, especially when he's like, oh, well, I'm sure he's fine, or I'm sure he'll get there, and then you just post it on the wall. Immediately, you're thinking, oh, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
You've seen so many crime dramas and cops before. You're just like, yeah, he's just another one of those cop characters who doesn't care, and nothing's going to happen. So then it kind of subverts you when he does start going, I need to solve this. It's like, oh, okay, he's actually one of the good guys.
What I liked about it was like it was rather than a dismissive like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. It was more of like a granddad kind of like, don't worry, it will be fine. instead of, I'm sure it's nothing, it's like, I'm sure it's nothing because he'll arrive and he'll give you a call. Don't worry about that. And I think that's him throughout the whole entire film. Like, I feel like he's somewhat the protagonist in a little bit because,
like everyone says, and like Annie Wilkes and Paul Sheldon are the two guys are the main characters. I think he would be considered a main character in this thing because he has his own story through this whole movie himself. Like, he's trying to find out where your man is. Like, as much as the lads are having a laugh in the house there, he's
the only guy that does anything. Like, he's the only person that does anything, and the only reason that he's able to escape effectively because he came into the house. She would have killed him by that stage. Yeah. So, like, I feel like he is the hero of it, and you don't again, it's one of those kind of subverting your expectations, and there's a lot of that in this film as well, like with Kathy Bates and the sheriff. You think, okay, crappy sheriff and nice woman, and then it turns out to be, oh my god, horrible woman, brilliant sheriff.
Lumbo.
So we get to meet the lovely wife then, and
the dirty wife.
The dirty wife. She is a bit of a horn dog as well, isn't she? In fairness,
rubbing his leg while he's driving.
having it off with his leg. In this car, you're my deputy. When you're at home, you're my wife. So the scene with Kathy shaving.
But you notice that it shows that scene comes up and straight away she has a blade to his neck. Like, I know it's her supposed to be just, but that's like brilliant storytelling to me. Like, she could have been doing that at all, but they have her shave. Like, in the book, I don't think it ever says that. I can't remember, but I don't think it ever says that she shaves him. But her blade starts there.
Not only does it show like that she is his total caretaker, and that he has to sort of trust her in a way. It also shows the passage of time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a really good job of the passage of time in this. With the weather, with the clothes, with the way how often she actually changes her clothes as well. She's never really in the same thing at all for one scene. So I like that. They do a good job visually and that's Rob Reiner, he's just a really good director as well. Yeah. Even though he's a bit of an idiot as a man. He did Spinal Tap. He was in Spinal Tap. So I like that. So it also shows Kathy Bates as kind of like full control over him. Like you said, Derry, but he's either completely trusting of her or completely unable to do anything, even if he wasn't trusting of her. Yeah. So he kind of he's forced to do so. She says that she's basically been following him. It's like, in a way, I've been following you. I've been stalking you. And he's kind of okay with that a little bit. He doesn't seem too freaked out.
Did she say she's stalking him? I think she said that.
She doesn't say, I've been stalking you. She says that, like, I've been hanging outside and I've been thinking, watching you come and go. And
the window.
It's like, what the fuck?
But did she not turn? She did turn around and say, sorry, that's popping my head now. Didn't she turn around and say, I saw you leaving the cabin that morning?
Yes!
Yeah, so, and she followed and she saw him crash.
Does that not so? She was just following them. Was that the case? And she was just following a car, obviously.
As she says, yeah.
Yeah, like she could be completely lying out her arse.
Yeah, like, that's left up to you to fucking think then.
There's a little bit later on when I actually don't believe that she gives a shit about him at all. And we'll come to the bit where I think that, but like, this is what I like about, the story having its own world to itself. And that's what happens when you can kind of keep it consolidated, really, really good set of characters. Technically, only 4 characters really in the whole entire film.
There's only 19 people in this entire movie.
I would have said that's more than I thought.
That's a lot more than I thought.
I would have said there was like 9.
Have any watched Castle Rock?
No.
No. Am I thinking of The Man in High Castle? That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
No, because it's the Stephen King series that came out. He tells loads of. It's about this whole. I don't really know what it's about, but one of the.
Good.
No, I know
That's a bad start, but keep going.
But yeah. But what like it tells the whole backstory of Annie Wilkes. There's a girl who plays Lizzie Chaplin plays her, but it gives you like a little backstory right up to Misery.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. It was really good. It shows that she kind of like, but then again, obviously it wouldn't work if you watched that first and then watched the movie because you'd know she's a fucking psychotic.
Is she based on a nurse from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Oh,
Nurse
really?
Ratches.
No, I think Annie Wilkes is as well.
Oh fuck! Okay, well
as like not Ratched, a different nurse.
All right.
I think so. Don't quote me on it.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, all I know is that it shows the kind of start to her, and she's like, but you don't find out obviously till the end of the show that she's psychotic. But they do it in a very, very clever way. If you ever look,
so it's like a prequel kind of like to this, or
well, there's loads of stories in it. It's just she's one of them.
Okay.
Go on, sorry, continue, Jamie. Sorry, go.
Yeah, well, no, like you said, I think having a prequel about this character, even after knowing what she's like, still I wouldn't enjoy it, I don't think, because I like the open-endedness of it. Like, I like the way that, in a way, this is a bit of like a horror film, you know? She actually, like, the fight at the end reminds me of a fight with, like, Jason or, you know, Michael Myers or whatever, in a condensed form. So it's not unreasonable to have to kind of think that, but we kind of get the stirrings of her being a bit of a mad one at this part, I think, at the very least. So he lets, I think she starts probing about the book, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm just writing a new book. Can I read your new book?
Can I? He doesn't even come out and say, "Can I read it?" She kind of like exactly probes and leaves him say to her, "If you wouldn't mind." He says, "Well, I'll make it a step for people who saved my life."
Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's delighted, and again, she's a little bit innocent and stuff, and it's not. You don't really think too much of it at this point. I think she doesn't actually tell him that she's been divorced until much later, effectively. So doesn't really just tell him anything about it. There are a few things that I really would have liked to see more of. I know that she gets into it a little bit later about like the love interest and things like that, but you didn't mention the book at all, really, about what happens in the book and the whole premise of the book or anything. It's not. I don't think it was really needed, but I would have liked to see it. You know, she just said, "Oh, it's a wonderful book, and it's magical, and it does this and this and this." I'm like, okay, tell me about the fuck book then. What do you love about it? You wouldn't go to J.K. Rowling and go, "It's a magical book, and I love it, and the characters are fantastic." You'd be like, "Oh, I love this character, and this and this and this." You'd be a little bit more pointed to begin with. I just see it's just a bit vague. So this is where,
in terms of the whole script, though, he doesn't tend to probe her for further information at any point. He doesn't ask follow-up questions ever.
He doesn't really care about his own books, though. It's not like he's like, oh, what? Oh, wow. Oh, I remember writing that part. He's just like, oh, thanks. Yeah, like I get fans like you all the time. Like, please leave me alone. But this is where I get the part where I don't think she really gives a shit about the book. And maybe that's, you know, I think later on that idea develops. But you get to the next scene, and then we have the sheriff talking to the hotel owner. And that's kind of fine. They basically just explain, I don't know where he is. I'm sure he'll be fine, says the hotel owner. Everybody in this town is completely like chillaxed about everything. You know, he's fine. Was that the day with the whole blizzard? Oh yeah, but I'm sure he's fine. Nothing ever happens. We're now on the part where, so we're how many minutes in?
This is only like 15 minutes in.
Yeah, so we're about
15, 20 minutes in, yeah.
15, 20 minutes in. But 15, 20 minutes in.
This movie moves at such a good pace.
It's quick,
really quick,
And again, I think it's because of the passage of time. you need the passage of time for the legs to heal properly and everything to be believable. You know, that would take a long time.
Yeah, but this is the first part now where you see that something's fucking off with her. Really see it anyway. Yeah.
With the soup, she's feeding him that lovely soup.
I was thinking, I know it's a thick blanket, but when she drops it on, does it not burn him? Like, is it supposed to be fucking hot? Obviously, like, you know what I mean?
That's some hot soup.
Yeah. Well, in the book it says she burns him with the fucking soup, and.
Well, she's not liking the book, and that's why she burns him. What does he call her? Call him? It's like, doesn't she call it? Maybe it's later on. It's like, you're a dirty birdie. Maybe that's later on. I think that you're a dirty birdie. Oh my God! No, he's like very bad language. You know what it reminded me of? Remember when Mrs. Doyle was like that, writing that filth, bastard this and bastard that. That's what she was like. It was like, bastard. It's not real life. It doesn't make any sense. If I said, hey, give me that bastard in check. Hey, waitress, give me that bastard in check. I was like, that's how Irish people speak all the time. Hey, fucker, get your shit over here.
Give me a fucking drink. Yeah, okay. It sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Yeah, get your fucking drink over here. She has a bit of a meltdown, and I love the meltdown because, again, you just kind of realize that. Okay, yeah,
it's fucking out of nowhere, and it's so good.
Yeah, Paul Sheldon is not really liking that at all. He's a little bit.
Just like, what the fuck just happened?
I wish my legs weren't so broken right now. I want to leave badly. And then she apologizes. She's like, oh, God, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me at all. It must have been the soup. And then we're back to, like, that. The scenes are so quick. Like, they're basically ba-bam. And now we're into the cop searching with his wife out in the wilderness. And she wants to get a little bit jiggy with him.
Trying to feel him up.
Na.
Yeah.
Is that DMCA-able? Na.
Say nothing.
If it was in tune, maybe.
Getting Jamie with it. Am I allowed to change the lyrics? So, this is where I like the sheriff, and he kind of, like you said, he's like that kind of hunter mentality. He's like, there's a broken tree over here. Could have been a bear. Could have been the wind. Could have been anything. And he kind of goes down that little hill in the snow. But he's old. You don't really begrudge him, to be honest with you. The fact that he's like not able to make it down, and I think the camera pans down and sees the tire.
But I love the fact that when he falls, like, he just sinks in and he's like up to his neck. She's like, "Are you okay? Do you want a hand?"
No, I don't want a hand.
She comes in with the fucking pig then, doesn't she, or something?
No, I don't think that happens just yet. I think that's. Oh no, wait, maybe it might be. No.
Okay.
No. What happens is just when they get in the car. I think it is actually now. To be honest with you, let me.
She drives past them.
There's she drives past them in the car. She's like, okay, they're looking for him. Maybe it is the part with the pig. 2 seconds.
But I don't even think, because she doesn't even look over. She just looks dead ahead. So I don't even think she knows that they're fucking looking. I don't
know. She knows. Well, I get the feeling that she knows where she had picked him up, and she's just like, okay, people are searching for him. Because over the course of the film, we see the helicopter come in, and she's just like, okay, I like that. That part, she even gets a little bit anxious. She's starting to get a little bit angsty about people looking for Mr. Paul Sheldon.
Yeah.
The little doorknob starts going, chicka, 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 and she had brought back a book. Was it a new book, or is it a book she already had?
No, this is the last book. This is when he killed off Misery, the last book, and it was only released then.
It was the one that just went into the store because it was It had the same cover as the printout that the agent showed him at the beginning.
Yeah. And then the book he had in his satchel was the one he wrote that was he basically killed off Misery so he could write this new book.
No. The book that was in his satchel is the one where he kills Misery.
No, it's not.
It is, because she asks him to burn the book and rewrite it again.
Yeah.
Like that, she knows that that's the only copy. I know that's what makes it confusing why she gets this book if she's the biggest fan.
Oh.
And again, this is why I think she's absolutely lying through her the whole entire time. She's not his biggest fan at all.
But then the shopkeeper later on does say that every time the book comes in, she has to keep the first copy.
Now, I think that because she's mental.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of a way. I think she's been planning about this for a long time. Exactly. There's some continuity there where I was like, why is she so excited about this book that she probably already has a copy of because it's already out? Or maybe it's the book. Maybe it's the book before the most recent book, so it's still a new book to her, but it's not the new book.
It's the newest released one.
There was no Amazon back here, so maybe like that store only got it like a year in advance or something.
I thought the newest one that he wrote was because I thought the one that he had in his satchel, because it's wrote on it untitled by Paul Sheldon, and then the book she hasn't is called The Death of Misery on the book, the cover.
Is it not Misery's Child?
Misery's Child.
Oh, fuck that. Sorry, I'm totally confused here. Sorry.
Well, we'll hash it out because I was actually, that confused me. That part where she was excited about the book and I was like, let's see if I can actually get... So she comes in. There we go. Misery's Child.
Yeah. And that was the printout that the agent showed at the beginning. So that's like a brand new book.
Because she dies in a miscarriage...
So the book in the satchel is the one where he kills off Misery then, is it?
Yeah, exactly. That's why she wants him to burn it. But I think Misery's Child, maybe she gets pregnant at the end of it, and then she has a miscarriage in this book. Like, we're talking about a book that doesn't even exist. But, you know, just for the purpose of the film.
All I know is Robin Williams is great in this movie.
I love Robin Williams. Go, Captain, my Captain.
He was amazing in this movie.
Where they all stand up on the desk. Oh, no, wait, that's a different one. So... The pig doesn't come in until the next scene, I believe. So she's ranting about the book. Oh, I can't wait to read the book. It's it's a wonderful book. It's a fantastic story. Literally says nothing about the book at all. Like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens to this character. It's like, oh, yay, the book. And she is delighted. And he's not so delighted at all.
Yeah, but when she does the whole thing that Kathy Bates does through this whole movie. She either has her little psychotic bits, but just before she leaves the room, every time she says something, just the tone of her voice, when she turns around and says to him, "I love you, Paul." I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
No, the best part was...
Just go and close the fucking door, please.
But those are the best parts, because that's why I think that this would be lovely on stage, because imagine just having that, like, every time she left the room, like, that side look, it's like,
yeah,
I might put some bullets in it, and just leaves. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with this woman?
Look,
my penis is retracting right into my body. I'm just like, ah!
Yeah, but that's all that happens in my house. Amy walks off and she says, look back and says, I have a butcher's knife downstairs.
Yeah, it's like
I might put some bullets in it.
It's just like, well, she'll be at that for a few hours. It's fine.
The reason in the attic.
And maybe she comes down with like a gun blade, like Squall in Final Fantasy VIII.
Look, man, I'm waiting for that night where I wake up and she's standing behind me, or above me even,
with a load of bullets glued to a knife. You're dead now, buddy. So he gets a nice bit of feed, but the food doesn't generally look that great. Maybe I'm just being a bit of a snob, to be honest with you, but you know, it looks okay.
No, it does look nice.
That's all right. So we find out then that she has had a divorce, and now you start realizing, oh, she's a lonely woman. She's a lonely woman that lives by herself and her pet pig named Misery.
Fucking Misery. Jesus Christ! Do you know that pig is in the IMDb cast list as Misery the pig.
That's what the pig is named. Even in the credits of the film, it's like Misery the pig, and then it's like playing herself. Acting credit. And again, this is, hey, look what CGI did to the world. They now there's animals roaming around that are without acting jobs. They can just CGI all those pigs in now. Awful behavior. Apparently the pig had helped her. She did say that it was because of a divorce, didn't she? Like she had split up with her husband effectively.
The farm was all doom and gloom, and the pigs and there was like cows and sheep were never. But when she got Misery, everything changed.
Yay! Thanks, big hairy pig. But yeah, Misery helped her along through a tough time. Ate up all her scraps and everything. I think this is the part with the pee bottle as well. Like this is what I'm talking about. They put these little anxiety-causing moments in it, and that never actually... It's not like it doesn't pay off, but it doesn't... Like, you think, oh, she's going to get that everywhere. But there's no... Like, is she doing that on purpose? Is she, like, showing him, like, she has that control? Again, like, you're trying to get inside this character's head and wonder why are they so fucked up?
Yeah.
I think that was part of it. It was more to show... kind of what she was like.
Mm-hmm.
Where, because he's looking at the bottle the whole time going, shit.
So
she's totally normal with it, which, you know, I imagine a real nurse would be anyway.
It was either you burning
lackadaisy with it.
That lackadaisy with it. I mean, wouldn't be so precious about the fact she was holding a bottle of pee, you know?
Oh yeah, like it wouldn't. It's not that like I expected her to be like ew, but she was just like.
If it was,
it looked like it would tip out.
Okay.
With a glove. So she leaves with the pee bottle and also the pig, and then she goes, "Oink oink 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 oink," and runs out like with her butt in the air. Oink 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 oink. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And again, You get Paul Sheldon's face. You're like, oh my god, what the fuck? He's cute. He's clearly like legs don't fail me now. Ow! But his face, you can see it's visibly like gotten a little bit better. He's clearly healing. He's been there for a little bit, and he's not loving it. Act 2. Are we ready?
Do it.
Let's go.
Now we have Kathy Bates. Nothing special is going to happen other than the fact that Kathy Bates has found out that Misery has died of what is it? What is it called? A miscarriage.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say a failed pregnancy, but then I was like, no, there's a name for that. A miscarriage. The way that she talks about losing this character, it's like Paul had basically killed someone that she knew. What is it about the change in that character that makes it so creepy? It's because I think it's the deadness in her eyes. Did you notice that she basically doesn't blink throughout the whole entire film?
I wouldn't say the whole film, but maybe. Now you're fucking saying it. It does seem
just like that dead stare.
Yeah. Well, like, she progressively, as I said, the build to it is fucking crazy. When you say dead, there is nothing there. There's absolutely fucking nothing there. So you think that, like, that's a pure sign of a fucking psychopath. And then what kills me, she comes back, it obviously shows the whole bipolar thing. But the next scene then, she comes in and she's like, what happens? You dirty birdie, you kill her or something, is it?
You dirty birdie. Yeah. You dirty... I was like, that's like, even creepy. Why is she saying it like that?
Fucking... Because she's a bit stupid.
But you find out later she's actually like an evil fucking mental woman. Like, she doesn't get to be the head nurse or the head matron in a hospital by being stupid. It's just... like the innocent words she uses are actually super creepy. Like it's like like a 4-year-old child using swear words. There's something weird about it. It's like a fully grown woman using like "you dirty birdie," like being genuinely angry. You're like, oh, there's something wrong about that. You should tell me to fuck off. I would rather that. It feels a little bit more natural.
But what makes her fucking more weird, because she's like talking like that. The cockamamie, he didn't get out of the cockamamie car.
That was it. Yeah, it was like, and then the next week. So she explains that she went to, like, when she was younger, she goes to these episodes in, and I was actually, I thought it was like, oh, she's a movie reviewer too. It was, so she goes to these episodic flicks of, I guess, what did she call it? Rocket Man. And, and the week before, the car blew up. And then they come back and there's like, what happened last week? And then he jumps out of the car and she fucking loses her shit.
Everybody
the cockadoodie! Everybody knew he didn't get out of the cockadoodie car. Like, ugh.
Yeah, fucking lunatic. But she bounced the chair off the wall and everything, and fucking Jesus Christ. Like, but it showed then, like, but they've been showing through this whole I suppose on his part, they were trying to build up about how unable to do anything he was. Like, obviously, he just had to fucking lie there and like take all his abuse and take fucking everything he was doing with the lighter fluid and the piss bottle. But like when she comes in, then she could literally do anything to him.
Yeah, so like up until that point, you're basically seeing that she has full control with the blade and the piss bottle and the soup. Like he hasn't been like able to even go, whoa, stop it. He's just been sitting there going, oh God, I really don't feel comfortable in this position at all. She leaves and says, I die, you die.
Yeah.
We didn't explain throughout this is like, he's been asking her, oh, when can I go to the hospital? Why wasn't I brought to the hospital? The phones were down. The roads are blocked. And then when the roads aren't blocked, the roads are blocked to the hospital. And the ambulance isn't able to come.
But she blatantly tells him then, don't bother trying to do anything because I didn't call anybody. There's no one looking for you.
Basically, like, I didn't call anybody. Like, throughout the whole entire thing, she's like, oh, I called your agent. And she's fine. And
I like the fact that she just blatantly put it out there, because he realizes now, like up to now, he's like, she's not normal. She's a bit fucking weird. But up to that point, I think at that point, it's a pinnacle point in the movie that he's like, she's fucking nuts. She's here to. I don't know if she says he thinks that she's here to kill him, but he knows now there's something wrong here. Like, I think up to that point, he was like thinking that she's a bit crazy, like, crazy, something a bit depressed or whatever, but now he knows she's fucking psychotic.
Yeah, crazy, not la crazy.
Yeah, but like, even with the whole thing of her running in and hitting the chair off the fucking wall and stuff, and her shouting, but up to that point, I think, where she says to him now, I haven't called anyone, no one is coming for you. Like that, There's a line there. And she jumped over. He knows that she's after crossing that fucking line. He knows that he's not getting fucking out of there.
Well, this is the kind of spurring on moment that needs him to trying to get out of the house at this point. He's like, okay, now I need to leave. All the rest of the craziness I could deal with, but now I need to be gone out of this house quick. We get to him basically trying to get out of the bed, which is a bad idea because he has 2 broken legs and that's never going to work. The legs themselves are obviously, like, what are they, practical effects, like rubber legs or something like that? They're not his feet.
They are his feet, yeah.
They're not his feet. There's no way they're his feet. Derry!
I actually genuinely don't know. Sorry.
I'm telling you.
They're not. They cannot be his feet because they don't move. Like, all the toes are fused together. I was like, that's absolute makeup, like rubbery legs or whatever. Because if you think about it, see where...
And I'm not talking about when he's there. Like, I'm talking about what you're showing me there. You know he has his legs hanging out of bed. like when he's getting out of bed himself, that's real. I'm talking about like maybe not the whole time, but like when you see James Caan like there, that's all him. That's all his legs.
No way, that's not his legs. Like his legs are like from the knees down. It's absolutely like rubber legs. Like look at that, because he's like dragging him around. Let me get to the bit where he's dragging him around. Oh, he's coming. So he lands him on the ground. They're fake. Look at those. That's fake legs. Those are fake legs.
I don't think so.
Where are his legs?
So what I think is happening is that, see where the knees are covered and there's like splints down the sides? I think his feet are in like Wellington boots that have the outside looking all fucked up and bruised.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because look, like because they're huge. They're huge. And obviously it's because they're swollen, but they're like rubber feet, effectively.
I don't know about that part, but there were gelatin legs that were up to his knees.
Gelatin legs. Ah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Gelatin.
Yeah.
I'm just going to agree to disagree and drink.
I mean, are we going to argue with IMDb or?
No, I'm not arguing. I haven't even checked IMDb. I was just watching the film and I was like, those aren't his real legs. Don't try and convince me they are. We then have Paul discovering that the newspapers are looking for him. Everybody's looking for him. Thank God. And then we have the sheriff getting calls. I think he's trying to call around at this point. Is that right?
Oh, he's making a few phone calls. Yeah, he's making a few phone calls to see does anyone know anything.
And then we get to find out that he didn't really get back to bed that night after he tried to climb out of the bed unsuccessfully, trying to open a locked door.
Poor Paul.
He does that a lot. Like I think he does that twice throughout like in the kitchen as well. He tries to get out the door and it's like, oh no, that's locked as well.
But then he says, when he tries to open the front door, of course.
Of course. So she huffs him back into bed and then she brings in the like a barbecue, effectively, with the script on it, or with the novel on it, and she's asking him to burn it.
So this again is a bit where she has the lighter fluid and she's like spill it on the fucking bed, and I'm like,
no, she don't. Well, she doesn't spill it on the bed just yet. She's basically encouraging him to finish off his book, or else then she'll go ahead and start burning him as well, like spraying the lighter fluid on the end of the bed and stuff like that.
So it's either like you burn the book or I'll fucking burn you.
It's like old school matches as well, where you can flick them, like that.
But then again, does that not show again your point, Jamie, that she really doesn't give a fuck about him because she's willing to burn him alive if he doesn't.
No, she doesn't. So she wants him to write a new book because later on in the film, she says she's been trying to practice writing because she loved Paul Sheldon so much. And her idea, because God told her, was to write a book like Paul Sheldon and give it to the world. So I was thinking, okay, her whole point of this.
Do you not think that was a cover for her, like fucking?
It's both a cover and also a way of her maybe getting him to write books for her so that she can become famous.
Oh, nice.
That's what I was thinking. She was like, okay, because she killed babies in a hospital, and she doesn't seem like a person. Like, I think she killed her husband as well. I think you get that in the newspaper.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to make our own assumptions there, but I think we all know she did.
So if Paul Sheldon effectively kills off Misery, she has no way of continuing on the money boat of Misery. So she wants him to write a new book and then just continue on writing those books like she had written them effectively, and give it off like she's a kind of a ghostwriter effectively for Paul Sheldon or whatever. That's the feeling I got. And especially with the burning of a book, like, oh my God, imagine writing all that whole entire book and then some stupid bint comes along and asks you to burn it.
You know, that was only because I've written. Now I can't imagine. I would have never known about this until I wrote something. But like, I can't imagine writing something and only having one copy of it, and someone fucking makes you burn it. My heart went out to that. Even though I know.
Back up your shit. Back up your shit.
It meant something else to me, man. I was like, holy shit.
Like you need to take a copy of everything you have. I'm scared of even having stuff on Google Drive. I have like stuff on Google Drive. I have like a copy of that on an external hard drive. I have like a copy of that on my computer.
I write all my stuff out. Well, I write it out of hand to paper first, pencil to paper, pen to paper, and then so I always have a copy. And then what I do is I type it out, and I can change and chop what I want, or maybe cut out a few thousand pages, as Darren will know.
Well, I got carpal tunnel a lot, so I can't properly write, for long periods of time. I used to do that when I was younger, but I'm just an old man with arthritis.
Just old now, dude.
Such an old person. She burns the books, and then we get the so she's burning the book.
That was a really good bit of acting where he says, you can see in his face, like, look, no bother. My publisher has loads of copies. Like, don't worry about it. And she keeps saying, so you've said. So like the match ball. He's like,
so then it's no problem.
Acting on his, like as you said, on their faces. They don't even need to say it. And you can see in his eyes, he's like, please don't burn my book. I don't want to.
Please don't do this. I lied really well. I took a straight face and everything.
You can feel the months of work. That's what he's thinking of. Like, effort that's gone into it.
It's like, I hope I remember everything I wrote.
This one was like, this is what he wanted to write. He didn't write this for awards. He wrote this for himself.
Yeah.
So imagine fucking burning. Oh God.
So she, the whole thing starts burning up, and she's like, "Oh goodness! It's like trying to stamp out the flames and like everything lighting on fire. Oh goodness! It's like you're lighting a fucking barbecue inside you, dope. Yeah, it's gonna light your curtains on fire." He decides escape is probably not going to be the easiest at this point, so he's going to hide away some of the pills, and for the purposes of, I guess at this point, trying to poison Kathy Bates unfruitfully. And again, another introduction of this kind of anxiety that the film is bringing on. It's setting up this kind of long-standing story part where you're like, okay, something's happening in the background here, and I'm kind of waiting for the payoff effectively. And then Kathy Bates is upstairs watching TV. What is it, like Blind Date or something?
Love Connection.
Love Connection. So he hides the pills in the mattress, and then the next day, or maybe a few days later, she has brought a wheelchair for him to wheel himself around effectively, which is nice.
I love how narky he gets at this point. Like, yeah, I've always wanted to visit the other side of the room.
She drops a bobby pin, and then he goes to pick up the bobby pin. She's setting up basically a desk and everything for him. Got him a typewriter, got him paper, got him the whole works effectively.
It's missing an N. I was like,
it's missing an N.
Yeah, she got a good price because it's missing an N. I was like, because there's a line where she says, I can fill in the ends, and I must have misheard that the whole time. But I was like, fill in the ends. Like, I thought it was like the end of the line. I was like, how the fuck would she know to fill in the end of the line? It's an N. I was like, oh, you fucking idiot, Darren.
The letter N. He's like, okay, I want you to be a part of the process so much, but it's the wrong paper. It smudges. The paper smudges. The ink smudges on the paper. I can't use this paper. This is peasant paper. She has a little bit of a flip out moment then. It's like, I do everything for you. I go and get the paper. Oh, do you want anything else while I'm out? So she like starts becoming this like abusive wife in this situation effectively.
But again, this just shows, I don't think I've never seen a more perfect version of fucking someone bipolar. Like the fact that she switches, but it's so believable.
And I don't even think there's any music switches in this either. I think it really is just like the camera might change a little bit. It's her face mainly.
But you can see where she's getting frustrated because when he shows her, he improves to her that it smudges, and you can see that she's getting. You can see the build of her getting annoyed, and then she just fucking lets it out and on him like.
He picks up the bobby pin and tries to pick lock the door, and I think it's been a while since I've seen this. I was like, that's not gonna fucking work. Don't tell me that works. And then he believes. He's like, oh, it actually worked. I was like, okay, you get that movie. You doubted your own self.
Legs to the book or something, or the paper. Does she whack him in the legs, or is the ball she hits him in or something?
No, she basically drops all the paper on his legs. Yeah. She's angry.
Again, she's a fucking lunatic.
He unlocks the door with the bobby pin and sneaks out into the hallway. And you're saying this is like in a theater, effectively, it's like a revolving stage where you could probably go from one side to the other.
This is just the most... Look, I recommend, lads, when you get off this, just for a few seconds, just go on to look right in Misery Broadway set design. Your man will show... It's a little model, but they obviously show it on stage. They obviously show how it works. But it's the most perfect fucking set. And the way they do it, man, it's like... He's the way your man described it. It's like the people were looking at a TV screen, like the camera angles, and it's just one continuous movement. So he goes through the door, continuous ongoing. It's fucking brilliant. It looks amazing. Obviously, that's not the version I saw with Bruce Willis on it. But
did they film that? Did they have that on film?
Well, someone obviously filmed it on Broadway. They weren't supposed to. The one I saw is they have.
Oh right, it's like a dodgy one in the background, like.
Yeah. No, on their phone, obviously. But the one I saw was the stage was split into two. So like it was basically on stage, in the middle of the stage. It was like two rooms. So essentially it was like a big crack down the two fucking rooms, explained it. The bedroom and then the kitchen. And that was it. But it was really, really well done. It was fantastic. And they obviously two doors at the back so they could go out one and come back in the other. So it was really fucking cool. But yeah, just as a stage play, you don't have to have anything but two rooms. You can do it all in one room, but it's fantastic. It's fucking brilliant.
Well, I like the way this is kind of its own bit on its own, effectively. When he starts going around the rooms, and I love the way he spots the telephone. He's like, "Oh, brilliant!" He goes over, and there's nothing in there. The inside of the phone has been taken out, effectively. It's like, why does she have a phone? Crazy bitch. Why does she have a phone with nothing in there? Yeah. Like, is she trying to double bluff? It's like, if he escapes, I'll bet the first thing that he sees is that phone. I'll take out the stuff in the phone.
This was actually a question that was asked later on, as in like, oh, this is a loophole, so answer this question. And it was asked of Rob Reiner or whoever. And they basically said, oh, she's just a crazy bitch. Okay. That's literally what they said.
She's just mental, that's it, okay.
But you see it on the road. That's when the sheriff goes to her house because she just starts screaming at your man. It was her. She was in the wrong on the road and she starts screaming at your fucking guy. Yeah, cock a fucking many, you lunatic. And your man's
get
like,
out of here.
What the fuck? Yeah. So your man just obviously the sheriff sees her doing that and he fucking follows her.
When he's going around the house, he accidentally tips off of a little penguin. And
every time I see that, I was like, oh, I know what's happening. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God he got that. And then every single time, I'm like, why did you not just put it back properly? And I'm like, because it's in the fucking script, Darren, shut up.
No, but even when he took the pills from the top shelf, he made sure to pull the top one back so that they were acted the same way. And I'm like, why couldn't you have done that with the penguin?
But that's like, I don't even think the audience at that time, again, I think it's like at a time when movies, you didn't question it that much. You were like, oh no, they're obviously going to notice the penguin. I think they put that in the film to make you think, oh, he nearly dropped it, not why didn't he put it back in the right position? Because thinking that is a little bit crazy. So I think people nowadays, when they're watching films, are a little bit crazy because they're looking for every possible flaw. I don't want to be surprised. I'm one step ahead of you, film. But back in the olden days of the 90s, it's probably, oh, thank God he caught it. Because later on, she basically, it's not even the next time she sees him. it's later on in the movie. She's like, I know you've been outside because of this, this, and this. So those are the like moments that I was saying that they're kind of anxiety causing, but long standing. You know, you've kind of forgotten about the moment that's happened until it's already there. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. You're like,
that's the kind of horror aspect. Yeah. He's gotten away with that, but no, he has not. Kathy Bates sees all.
He knows.
So he sees the shrine of Paul Sheldon there, and again, like it's a fairly, like, how many pictures are there? 4 pictures and a load of books, and it's. I don't know whether they wanted like it. Here's the 2 ways that I think that they could have taken it. She has like clippings of his hair, and like there's a doll made out of his used tissues. You know, that kind of like psycho.
Yeah. No, I think they did the realistic way, because most fucking fans now are like that. Like, I think it would lose the impact. Like, I know she's a fucking psychotic bitch, but this kind of shows that she's just a fan, as we all fucking think. Like, she doesn't want to kill him just yet.
Yeah, like, I don't think the killing aspect has really come to it. I think the like I'll hurt you aspect is there basically.
I can hurt you,
Like, I don't want to kill you, you're staying here forever kind of a thing. But again, I don't get she's a raving mental lunatic for him and his work. I think she just comes off as a raging mental lunatic that happens to be interested in this person. You know, the shrine doesn't come off as like, I idolize you, Paul. It's like just a part of her overall, like the phone was, or the penguin was. Like, the whole house is just filled with just bits of her being mental.
Yeah, but is it not like, because obviously she was in fucking jail and stuff, so she obviously has no reason to ring anyone. So she obviously is trying to hide away from. But then again, the sheriff does say that's the old Wilkes farm, so everyone knows that she's there. Period.
Well, the husband does he see? Oh no, he sees like, so this is the first time he gets out, and he sees the book of Memory Lane, but he never gets to see what's in there just yet.
Okay.
And that's all of the evidence about like her baby killings and stuff.
Killing stuff. Yeah.
So he hears the car coming back effectively, and I'm going back to the wrong one. So here's the back. Yeah, he goes in, steals some of the pills, and gets a bunch of them, and here's the car coming back. He tries to escape through the kitchen, which doesn't go very well. Like, what I probably would have done is, if I was in his position, of course, is try and get out of the chair, but then get the chair back again, and then in the kitchen. You know? Wouldn't that make more sense, instead of dragging yourself along the ground? Like, because the wheelchairs go like this, right? Like, they do this. So if you just went and then brought it through and then got into it and then just wheeled yourself over to the door.
You're thinking too much about it now.
Yeah.
Darren, we're episode 7 in. This is what I do. Just saying. Well, so, because he has to drag himself all the way back over again. If he just had the wheelchair, he'd be like, oh shit, and I'll wheel myself back.
But he wouldn't have had the power to close it anyway, because he'd be on the floor.
No, but like he's like able to like maybe.
If we're going to go that route, there's windows there, so like he could have brought, like Jamie said, he could have brought the wheelchair in, hopped up. If you want to get out of that bad, I
didn't even think that, Darren. He could have gotten out of the wheelchair onto the table and then rolled out the window onto the snow and died of hypothermia.
He didn't want it bad enough, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, what I'm saying is that even if he got outside, he would have been dead in 10 minutes probably, because it's so cold out there.
Get the fuck away, yeah, exactly. How's he going to get out, like?
Okay, I'm finally out. I still have 2 broken legs and nowhere to go. I'm like, oh,
slither trail in the snow, and she's just like racing after him.
She's like, oh, there's like a slithery pole around.
I wonder what this could be. She's like strolling up, following him as he drags himself through the woods. That would have been a great scene, actually.
she arrives with the paper, and it's all very anxiety-causing altogether. He's closing the door. There's a key in the door. He's the bobby pin. He relocks the door with the bobby pin, which is impressive because
I was like, oh, that's fair play to him. Now he taught the fucking lock it. I was like, Jesus Christ,
right? I think you're starting to stretch that ability a little bit too much now at this point, though. But I'm going with you, film.
Because when they're talking about the language in the books, he does say he grew up in the slums or something.
Yeah, I was a slum kid.
Yeah, but a good background.
I don't even think I don't even think you're able to do that with a bobby pin. Can you actually pick lock with a bobby pin? Let me think.
You can.
Pick a lock with a bobby pin. Starting by pulling the. Yes, you can, but not the way he did it. Whatever. So he does it twice, 3 times, maybe 4 times. But this time he doesn't get caught. He's sitting there in the wheelchair, absolutely sweating balls. And she's like, "You're sweating. I got you the paper, but like, what's happened to you?" He's like, "I need my pills. I need my pills." And she's like, "Okay, well, let's get you into bed then." He's like, "No, I need, please help me. I'm in pain." And it's like, "Oh, you smart bastard." You're like, "Okay, exploit her a little bit. I see what you're doing."
Again, that's superb acting. I thought it was fucking great acting on his part. It breaks my heart to see you like this. I'm like, that's fucking great acting. The whole movie's brilliant acting.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they condensed it down into, in my mind, 4 characters. Really, I don't really care about anybody else in the film. And the 4th character out of all of them is the sheriff's wife, who is basically not even a real character. You know, she didn't technically. The only reason she's in there is for you to be like, at the end when he dies, you're like, "No, the wife, the horny wife. How's she gonna get her kicks off now? Whose legs is she gonna be feeling up in the bus stop?" It's like, "Ma'am, can you stop?" It's like, "My husband was the sheriff, you know."
That's a good point, actually. I think a death in a movie hits you harder when you know that there's somebody that loves the person.
Yeah. And it, like, a really lovely, innocent love, kind of. Well, maybe not in her mind, dirty bitch.
That's fine.
When we move on to the next bit, he's been hiding all these pills. He puts him into bed and gives him a notepad. Hey, you can write on this. Oh, I clearly have plenty to write about. I'm so invigorated for writing. A helicopter comes along, finds the car. So they find the car in the snow. And then the police are like, "Yeah, he's probably long dead anyway." So we had a look around for his body. Couldn't find it.
There's a chance that the animals got to it. There's a good chance.
That news conference was like, what? It was so crass and so blunt, and it's like, oh my god, like his daughter is probably watching this. It's like,
I was thinking that as well. Yeah, he's probably long dead, and it's just a matter of time before we find his long, cold, rotting corpse.
We'll get a better chance of we'll have a better chance of finding him when we have her first thaw
in the spring. We see the sheriff and the wife, and they're having a chat, and he's like, "There's something not right. I don't think he's dead. Basically, I still want to have a look for him." So we then get Act 3. So while we're in Act 3. We see the beginnings of him, Paul, that is, trying to make the effort of getting out. We have the setup of everybody now needing a singular goal to achieve in Act 3 to be able to overcome, which is basically getting the shit out of there and killing Kathy Bates at all possible means. He starts making a little envelope with one of the pages and starts filling up the envelope with all the contents of the random red pills that he's been given. He spends quite a fair amount of time doing that. She's been upstairs watching her love connection.
And he's typing fuck.
So I like that part. So he starts actually typing. Yeah. Like, he genuinely starts to get a book out of this, which is good. That he just tells you that nothing can stop writer's block. Nothing can start writer's block except for you. He has 2 broken legs. What's your excuse? That's my pep talk to me. So,
I was going to say, who are you talking to here?
That's me. Come on, Jamie, write your damn novel. What happens at this point?
This is the part where she tells him that she thinks the page that he wrote, she'll have to write him again because it's not right. It's not worthy of him. This is where she tells him about the cockamamie car.
That's it. It's cockadoodie car. Cockadoodie car. Yeah, it's like they have like this Minnesota accent. That cockadoodie car. Minnesota.
But again, her little scene here that she does, how she walks in, she talks in like normal, and all of a sudden then she goes from 0 to fucking 10,000. It's like but again, like you said, it's all in her fucking face. It's in her expressions. She just looks demented.
In this scene, so good. I love this scene.
But again,
the eyes are like poking out.
But again, this will tell you, like, this is why, because who was talking to her? Is it Jimmy Kimmel or Conan O'Brien said to her, your performance is iconic as Annie Wilkes. This is years later. And she said, my mother wouldn't agree with you. She's like, oh, no, she didn't like it. And Kathy was like, no, my mom just said when she saw the movie, that I don't know what everyone's surprised about. She's seen her do this for fucking years. I was like, that's fucking brilliant. That's amazing. Anytime she wanted, she'd do that. She'd go nuts like that. So her mother didn't see anything new. She said, I thought you could act better than that, she said. Fucking brilliant.
But I think she's a phenomenal actress. I haven't seen her in that much, to be honest with you. What else has Kathy Bates been actually in?
She's in most of the American Horror Stories. She's after being in.
Oh yeah, she's the aunt in Titanic, isn't she? Yeah. The big old Southern gal.
Kathy Bates, she's the iconic. Her iconic role is in The Waterboy.
She was the mom in The Waterboy. Oh my God, was she? Was she in the? No way. Hang on a second. That wasn't her, was it?
The mother, Abby Boucher.
Oh my God. I completely forgot. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to confirm this, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm telling you.
Oh, it is! She is! Yeah. Oh my God. I'll never question you again, Darren. I'm sorry. Oh my God. But that's it. Like, I think she can play so many different roles that I probably wouldn't have. She's a great character actress. I don't know. I find her a little bit attractive in this film, I have to say. But that's just my. She's not wrong with her in the Waterboy either. What's that?
Amazing eyebrows. Look at those eyebrows.
Amazing eyebrows. Hey, if there's nothing else you can say, those are some good eyebrows, Kathy.
I've been looking at her face for quite a while now, and her eyebrows. I love her eyebrows.
There you go. You crazy bitch. Where'd you get your eyebrows done? You crazy bitch. So she asks him, doesn't she ask him to destroy the copy he's already basically made and to write it again? Yeah. You gotta write it again. I love that she took the barbecue in and just was like,
I love your feedback, but do you think we're being a bit too hasty here? He's like, in a nice way of saying, fuck off now. I'm at the writing this much of you.
I feel like, anytime I give anybody anything I've written, I'm like, that's what my response should be. Don't we feel like we should be a bit hasty here?
Stop asking people to read your stuff then.
I have to get people to read it or else there'll be no point. Kathy loves the next bit. Oh, you've done a fabulous job of this one.
Oh, then she's like, does he end up with Winthorpe or fucking whatever your man's name is? Oh, he's like, you'll have to wait.
Don't worry. They'll get the D. They'll get the D. Do women get the D or do men also get the D?
Women get the D.
Women get the D. What do women get or men get? Do they get the P? The P? The T? TPs?
Anyway.
Men get T. Okay, so she loves the next bit. It's fabulous. And then we get a little bit of a writing montage, I believe. No, sorry. The husband comes back and he's like, I know what I'll do. This'll be productive as the sheriff of the town. I'll read all of his books. Now, this is where it kind of lost me a little bit. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, well, I get it, because there's no other reason there's no other links for him to go under. There's nobody that he's seen, like Paul has seen. There's no evidence. There's the books, and the books.
I think this is something Stephen King just popped in his head one day. Maybe his wife just said, maybe just have him read all his books and just, maybe it might something cool to do. And he's like, oh, I just fucking put it in there. Fuck it.
Here's the block of.
He gets tired of these stories. He just wants to finish them quickly.
That's how I feel that this part of the story, this B story, is happening, because not only does he randomly buy all the books and start reading them, he then has this random encounter with Kathy Bates, and then goes to the library for some reason, and then finds old newspaper clippings exactly about her.
See, this is the thing I want to know. Does everyone in the town know what she has done? Because obviously my whole thought process is that he's obviously read that article that where she says if there's a higher power than man, it will be judged by him. So my whole thought process is that he's heard that before and it clicks with him. Actually,
that doesn't make a lot of sense either, because if the sheriff knows it's the old Wilkes place, and she is a Wilkes, so obviously her family's living there, then the newspapers must be from around there, and he's a policeman.
Yeah, but I think what happened is he was probably reminded of her by that incident where she's shouting at the guy. Yeah. And that's why he goes into the shop and asks, hey, you got any of those Paul Sheldon books? And is she buying anything strange? So he's like, oh, that crazy bitch up there, what's she been buying? He says she's been buying the books, and the sheriff goes, oh, okay, I'm going to check.
But then it's like, what? Like, in a town that has no crime, you can't remember, 10 years ago that this woman actually fucking went around murdering children in a local hospital.
I mean, that's not really her MO, grown-ass man.
Now, there's a certain, I won't say any names because I don't know any names. There's a certain murder in Waterford that happened some time ago, and then some gentleman got off completely scot-free and then started working on a certain transport service. And everybody knows that. That happened so long ago. That happened years ago.
But we're
living through a pandemic, and that's way bigger, and we'll still remember that scandal.
But there was a guard who actually...
Let's not get into the details, because I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. It's like this little town doesn't remember. So it starts to break.
Let's be real about it now. Let's be real.
It starts to break down just a little bit, but because it's like the B story, and because I can,
keep talking.
I can feign. Let's say maybe the sheriff did something when we weren't there watching him, kind of a thing, that kind of a way. There's like time passes and something else happens in the background, but I felt like he had gone from one thing to another real quick to just cut down all the evidence effectively in the middle of him having any reason to go and check her. I would have liked a little bit more there, but other than that, pretty good. He invites her to dinner because so this is after the kind of book montage. So there's kind of like a little montage that goes along of him writing the book, and she's visiting him, and he's really getting into the book, and it's all joyous and everything. And to celebrate the book, they have dinner together. And this is where he is going to slip her the Mickey. I believe that's the term kids use nowadays.
Is it? Are we? Did we watch the same movie? You've been watching the Pornhub knockoffs again?
No, slipping someone a Mickey. Yeah, slipping.
Okay. I've never heard that phrase before.
A Mickey. So, yeah, so I was right. So,
okay.
Oh no, actually, it's called a Mickey Finn. Right, okay, so in Ireland, there's a drink called Mickey Finns, okay? But apparently, in slang, a Mickey Finn or simply a Mickey is a drink laced with psychoactive drug or incapacitating agent.
Okay, but that slang is not in Ireland because in Ireland, Mickey is slang for something else.
Penis.
The D.
The D. Well, what I'm saying is,
the slipper, the Mickey. I was like,
yeah,
what?
The Mickey Finn.
Okay.
Slipping a Mickey. Yeah, sorry, I have American connotations when it comes to these sorts of things. But yeah, he's gonna drug her. Give her a roofie. That's another Americanism, isn't it? A roofie.
I think that's short for the actual drug, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what the drug is. Good, you should say. So
yeah, good.
So Darren, have you ever slipped someone the Mickey?
No.
Darren, don't leave us alone again. Every time you do, it goes like...
It goes like this.
Did you ever slip someone the Mickey? Well,
yeah.
Is this a dirty conversation or...
No, I was about to say, he slips her the Mickey. Yeah?
See, he thought the same way as I did.
So he drugs her in her drink.
Jamie, no one in the history of mankind has ever said about roofing someone, he slips her the Mickey.
I just checked it up. It's called Mickey Fins. It's called Mickey Finning someone. Right? That's a drink here. I find that the funniest.
Are you going to I'd Mickey Finn plenty of people.
So if someone now asks for a shot of Mickey Finn, am I allowed to drug them? Maybe.
I hope
no.
In America, no. No, Jamie, no.
Anyway,
not again.
Back
so don't leave again, Darren. Please don't leave again. I'll be arrested.
I apologize. I
had to
I had to slip the Mickey upstairs.
Jesus. So they have a little bit of a dinner, and he's like, okay.
Do you not even think the way she's dressed is like, like obviously you know what, she's a fucking psychopath now. Even the way she's dressed is kind of weird.
Frumpy. Conservative.
No, like the kind of style of, not fucking frumpy. Yep.
It's a bit frumpy.
The kind of style of the dress. She's like, yeah, there's just something fucking, there's something weird with her. She's fucking,
she
this,
like
what's worse is, this is her idea of, she's really trying to impress him here.
But that's what I'm saying. When she's using these kind of innocent terms and everything, she comes off as an innocent, conservative woman, but she's clearly not that at all. You know, her morality is completely out the window, and we know that because she's like, she doesn't come off as this is the funny thing about it. I don't think she's a bad person per se. You know, I don't think she's an evil person. If you like, okay, so here's the two ways we could take the story. We can take it.
She's an evil bitch.
We can take it as the way that I had initially thought that the film was, you know, under my thoughts, was that it's she's trying to effectively make him a slave of writing books for her to bump off as being her own. Yeah, okay, she's evil in that way, but that means she has intent and she's not actually mentally ill. So if you go down the mentally ill route, I think, yeah, it's sad because she, like, when she says that she loves him, it doesn't feel like she's trying to manipulate him or anything or try and apologize for anything. She genuinely looks like she's genuinely in love with him. You know, so it's those parts where I think, I feel a little bit empathy for her, but I don't genuinely think she's bad. Like, she wants to have a lovely dinner with him. But
I think there's something very broken about her.
But she's also,
I think you need a massive back. Like, see, I can only take her, the character, for what's written. Like, it never really goes in, bar the whole Castle Rock thing, which I didn't really watch. I only saw a few clips in there. But I think I need more of a backstory to feel what you're feeling, Jamie. Because if I'm only watching this movie, I feel that obviously she has bipolar. But
here's an example of the scene that we're in now at the moment where he goes, oh, we'll need candles. And she goes out to run and gets candles and he poisons her drink. Yeah? And then she tips the drink over. Do you think that she meant to do that?
No, but I think if anyone...
I think she did.
No. I don't think... But look at it this way. You say she's not evil, and she knew your mom was going to be taken away by the sheriff, and she had no problem blowing a hole in the back of that fucking guy.
Now, see, that's the thing, because when she was like that, she was like, her eyes were like dead on. She was like psychopathic. You know, like that's where the mental illness comes into it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't feel that she's an evil person unless she goes down the route that I was thinking that the character would go down in terms of like, haha, you're going to write books for me, Paul Sheldon, now, and I'm mentally fucked up, but I also have intent. You know, I intend to pretend that I'm, you know, an amazing writer when I'm actually not. Like with this scene when he poisons the drink and she tips over the drink, I think she was well aware that he was trying to do something like that. Like that's what I'm getting from it. You know, I think she's like one step ahead of him. At the end, because you do.
But I think this movie is so good. It's making you do that. It's making you and making me and Derry think things that are not happening, or maybe they are happening, but it's just leaving. I think a movie does that. A movie like this will have you asking questions. You know.
No, but the reason that I ask it isn't so I can go, oh, wasn't that a fun thought experiment? It's because it actually genuinely changes what the film is about or the reason for the motivations for characters. So if you're going to watch a film and then not ask, oh, did they actually know about this, whether it was written or not, is really what the film is about. Because if a film can just serve you up all the things in its cool hour and 45 minutes.
This movie has been doing that from the very start, because you're like, when she says, oh, it's been no surprise to me that you're up in the Silver Pine, did she knock him off the road? Did she follow him? Did she, like, this movie has you asking questions from the very fucking start. So, like,
but that's because the character is done so well, and that's what I'm saying is that, you know, you can infer a lot from it, and in these scenes, like, down to a basic question, what I was asking last time with Nightmare Before Christmas is Jack morally wrong, or, you know, morally bad or morally good? Like, does he even know? You know, should I feel anything for his moral acts? Like, that's what I feel about this character. Should I feel bad that they don't probably know what they're doing? Or should I feel, you know, nasty about it? You know, am I like, haha, I'm glad she got her comeuppance? Which I kind of do at the end of it anyway.
I think that, because I think the whole... See, if you didn't look at the whole her killing kids, then I'd be like, oh, well, maybe she just mean to, you know. But then when they show you blatantly that every time she went to a fucking hospital, that she's killed a child. And so I'm like, I'm in the opinion of she's just an evil fucking person.
Okay. Well, let's go with that premise, and then we'll come to the end, and then we'll have a nice discussion about it, who's right and who's Jamie. Oh, no, wait. That means I'm wrong. Damn it!
I'll take that.
So they have a lovely dinner, and he doesn't get to poison her. So he's basically worked up all that time trying to build up all that random drug, whatever the hell it was.
Can I say something? I would have loved. See, it's a rock and a hard place. I would have loved to have not seen this movie before, and to really not know what's going on, because obviously I was waiting for certain scenes to happen, and like, you know, when he does near drop the penguin, all that suspense. But then again, when I watched now, even after I watched it twice this week, and I still was like, oh my god, like, it still gave me that same feeling. That's how good of a fucking movie this is. But I would have loved, because obviously I don't remember when I saw it first, and, you know, to get that certain feeling, you like, when she shows up, you're like, oh my fucking god. Because you said this movie is like, it's kind of a horror. Like, I would have never thought this movie was a horror. And then when I watched it again this time, I was like, this movie is a total fucking horror movie. But it's just
you have a boss battle at the end. You have a boss battle at the end. You know, you have your kind of.
No, but I mean, it's a psychological fucking horror. This would be more of a kind of real.
It's a very blurred line between horror and psychological thriller, anyway.
And this is where the actual montage comes up. Actually, just after the dinner, I'll play a little bit of it because I do like the way it's shot. But it does a good way of explaining for a movie that ultimately is over the course of, is it like a year maybe? Is it like 9 months? Something like that?
It's like, I think it's just about, it's a little less than a year.
Yeah. Give her 8 or 9 months, let's say. And ultimately he's working his way through the chapters. The chapters effectively being your kind of guiding points that it's, you know, chapter 5, chapter 12, whatever. So there's time progressing going along. I like that bit. The snow in the background, the rain. Then it starts to rain one day. And she comes in looking a little bit down. Not looking great. Looking like she needs a hug, in my opinion. Bit of a hug, bit of chocolate. What am I talking about?
Oh, really? This is what you think? That it almost feels like a very outdated sexist point of view. Like, oh yeah, she's a hormonal crazy bitch because she's on her period.
This was made 30 years ago, okay? So I'm only giving context where there is none. For just our audience. Some of these people may not have been born that long ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, that could have been an aspect maybe. Or maybe she's just a mental bitch. So she goes in, she goes, I don't like the rain. I've never liked the rain. It makes me feel sad. And this is probably my favorite scene in the film where she takes out the gun. And what are you going to say, Terry?
It can't rain all the time.
Can't rain all the time. Oh! What's his name? Eric Draven. Eric? Can't rain all the time.
First podcast.
First podcast, mans. Yeah, can't rain all the time. I'm going to get that tattooed on my forehead. So she takes out the gun. She's like, I was thinking about using this. And she says it so like, oh my God, kind of creepy. And he's like, okay, can I do something to help you? Whatever. She takes out some bullets and she's like, oh no, she takes out the gun and then she's like, I've been thinking about putting bullets in this, and then just leaves. It's just the way she looks and stares. I think that really just adds to it the whole entire time. She's not even looking at him. And
almost like she's sleepwalking.
It is a little bit like kind of sleepwalking. Like she is, like, I think that's in people with depressive states could actually genuinely look like proper melancholy. You know, if you want to get like a definition of what melancholy is, there it is.
Yeah.
But then she walks outside in the fucking rain and she just this is a really fucking 90s shot where she walks in the rain and then all of a sudden there's a big crack of thunder and then she walks off camera. Yeah.
And then she leaves. She's going off driving somewhere. I don't think we find out, do we? No, we don't. No. So Paul escapes.
I always assumed she was going off to buy a fucking sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. Oh, no, she'd have that in the farm, surely. So Paul gets the knife, and this is where the cop is like, or the sheriff is like, I think I have it written down here.
The higher power than man, I will be judged by him.
Yeah. And why out of all of this, like, fucking 10 books that he's read, probably?
That's why he remembers. He obviously had seen the quote somewhere. I'm just thinking out loud.
Okay, let's go with that. Okay, let's go with kind of what Derry said earlier and what you're saying now is that he remembers something about that woman. And then when he's reading this book, he goes, I've heard that quote before. And then, because later on after that, he sees the woman and he's like, okay, this is ringing a bell. So maybe his ancient sheriff's senses are tingling. Is that you raising your eyes up to the sky, Darren? No, come on, help me out here.
I never thought about that until now. Even when I was watching it, I never thought about it. I just took it for what it was because I didn't fucking care. I was like, all right, either he knows he's after hearing it. I thought the obvious choice was he heard it before, and obviously her giving out, and it obviously caused a chain reaction. He's fucking old Sheriff Brain, and made him think
old Sheriff Brain
because he does, like, he goes to the library to find out stuff on her, obviously, because he looks straight, like, he opens the book and, like, on the second page is her, and it's her fucking, the quote, exact same quote, and he obviously brought that piece of paper with him because he put it on the fucking page. I just think it's the easiest answer.
Easy answers are boring, Darren.
Rob Reiner there, ask him.
Rig Rob Reiner, please. Paul leaves the room and he has the big scrapbook, the memory lane scrapbook. We see like one article about the husband, and the husband was killed in a car crash or something like that. So they didn't divorce or anything. That's it. Local investment banker dies, plunges to death. So was that her dad or is that her husband?
Did she kill her dad as well?
Maybe she killed her dad.
Her husband.
Oh, I don't know what that's implying. Because, yeah, at the end it says, with love to dad on Father's Day. So is that her dad?
Oh, wait. Okay, so if he's an investment banker, he wasn't a farmer. It's a farm, it's a Wilkes farm.
So that's
but he's Carl Wilkes.
It's her stepfather's farm.
Now we're on, whoa, her parents had a divorce. So, anyway, that part confused me a little bit. I'm like, okay, is that the dad? Is that the husband? Let's read the article. No. Let's not read the article. It is actually probably very boring. Top nursing student falls to her death. A lot of freak accidents going on here.
Everywhere she goes, she is like clearly, obviously killed because someone has fucking died. They've fallen to death. They've been killed. So that's obviously, like you're saying earlier, Darren, Nurse Ratched. She framed people. She killed people to get where she was.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, Jamie, she's a fucking psychopath.
So, yeah, and that's what I was saying before, that if we're going down the route of her being an absolute psychopath, does that mean that she doesn't actually give a shit about Paul Sheldon at all, that she's just trying to use this as a way to maybe make money or fraud people into believing she's a great writer?
Or maybe she does care about money because she's like, well, mine costs the most. So she does, remember the paper she bought? She's like, how can you,
but mine costs the most.
Yeah, but I think she's just a fucking psychopath, and I think she's right, and that's it. She's right, and just everyone else is wrong. And if it's like she loves him up till the point that he disagrees with her, and that's when it's like, come in my house, do what I say, and if you don't do what I say, you're gonna fucking pay. Why am I rhyming tonight? What's going on?
You should write. It's because you're wearing that M&M hat. 8 Mile, Mom Spaghetti. So we then see him doing a little bit of practicing with a knife at nighttime because he's coming to get her, or she's coming to get him.
Yeah, but was that just, did he bring the knife just as protection, or, well, he did because he pulls it, he's like, ha! Ha-cha! Ha-cha! She comes home.
Together, like.
Oh yeah, like I'd absolutely have a knife as well. I'd have like, inside the typewriter, there's those like little things that attach the letters to the stampy thing.
Yeah.
The arm, yeah. I'd get one of those and be like jabbing her in her eye or something. But that's just me. Don't ever capture me, lady.
Then she'd notice another letter was missing.
Yeah. D for death! Stab her in the eye. Poetic justice. Actually, it is poetic justice in the end. So he's going to stab her, but then she doesn't actually eventually come in the room at all. So that's perfectly fine. He has a bit of a snooze, and then she comes in and injects him with another mystery drug to make him fall asleep.
But again, it's the whole when he wakes up and she's standing in front of him. I'm like I've seen it 6 times. And I'm like, you get a fright. It's the fucking music, but now, do you see the bit you just showed there? Just her face there, and she's looking down at him. That's fucking terrifying.
This one, dun!
That's dun, fucking. Dun, dun. You're telling me she's not psychotic with that fucking look?
Yeah, but like okay, so what are we? 1 minute, 1 hour and 20 minutes. So compare that to like it's genuinely like different people. Effectively, you know, the frown it's very subtle looking, and then we get to like it's just a little bit more, you know, menacing. Maybe it is in the eyebrows. They are very arched. So she's going to do something fucking wrong, very bad, very, very bad. She basically explains to him, yeah, I know you've been able to leave the room, and
it's she says it to him. You've been out of your room, Paul. I'm like, oh
no. He was like, no, I haven't. No, I haven't. He's like, I found your key.
Yeah, but it's the way she's explaining it to him. She's like, I was wondering how you did it, but last night or last whatever, I found your key. I'm like I can imagine. I was just saying in my brain, I'm so happy I'm not that guy in that fucking bed at that moment in time. I was like, oh my god, like it. But like there could be no music. But you know what's fucking frightening? Do you know what song is playing while all this is happening?
No.
The Moonlight Sonata. It's on its own a beautiful piece. You know.
Oh yeah, they do play a little bit of classical in this.
But that song is also playing the very start of It, the miniseries.
Oh really?
Or yeah. But that's what's so fucking that's accompanied with the whole just before she breaks his leg saying, I love you. I'm like, you psychotic fucking psychopath.
But
it's
what
terrifying.
But again, it's like I feel like she's like an evil person, like
teacher.
No, but she tries to explain the reasoning behind it, and she's like, okay, hey, you know what they used to do with these miners when they tried to escape? It's like they still wanted them to work, but you know, they didn't want them to run away anymore. And she puts a bit of wood between both of his ankles and fucking reefs his feet this way into the bits of wood. So he's never going to be able to walk properly again. And that's the worst part. Like there's like breaking your legs, and then there's like, I know you'll never be able to walk properly after this. So yeah.
It's just like I can't honestly remember the first time I seen this movie, but I hadn't seen this like yourselves in such a long time. And through the whole movie, I was waiting for this. Like again, I was like, you know, because I hadn't remember what it was like. But when I saw this on, because obviously I know what the movie is and I've seen it. But when you're watching it on stage, how they did it on stage with me was like just she comes on, it's a big hectic scene. It's not as calm here. It's not as calm on stage. Well, not the version I saw. It was all really fucking hectic and a lot of shouting and stuff. And then just as she swung the sledgehammer, the lights went off. And then it cuts the next scene on stage. But I think if I was going to do this on stage, I'd do it exactly like this. I'd have it all calm and I'd have her. Because even, like, I felt so bad for him. I'm like, he's like, whatever you think about doing, please don't do it. And
yeah, like, and he never gets actually, like, you never get a lot of rage from him. Well, there is a little bit of rage in him. But, like, even at this part, he's not screaming and yelling. He's just like, please don't. Why?
He knows that he's, like, totally fucked. He's like, please don't do it. I'm asking you not to. It's, it's a hard, like, I don't know why. I got a horrible fucking pit in my stomach when you know what's going to happen. I'm like, oh my God. And I kind
of had to look away a little bit, even though you know it's fake. It's actually really well done and practical effects in it, isn't it? I think it's really, you know, when you see the foot, just go, nope.
Well, there's two versions of this. You see her do it to both legs, and then obviously the version that I watch the other night, you only see her do it to one leg. And then
I only seen the one leg one.
I know one,
yeah.
I didn't need to see two of them, to be honest with you. I knew what was happening for the second one. Imagine she went, you know what, I'll just leave it like that. That's grand. So he blacks out, and now we're effectively into Act 4. Dun dun! The final act of the movie, where all of the characters come to the conclusion. It's a little bit lazy, a little bit of a lazy ending, but it's nice. You know, my complaint is it's a little bit, like you said, Darren, it feels like they've gone, oh shit, I've written all this fucking book now, and I just really need it to end. Okay, she nearly gets in a car crash, and then he goes to her house, and he gets shot, and there's a fight, and then he escapes. The end.
But this is Stephen King's MO forever. Even in the new It movie, they made like a whole joke about it. Your man says like Bill Denbrough is a writer, and through the whole movie they keep saying his book gets made into a film, and your man's like you got to change the ending. I hate the ending. And through the whole thing. But when he meets Stephen King in the movie, Stephen King said, "I loved your last book," and your man says, "I know what you're going to say. The ending was terrible." That's forever. That's his MO, and he's made a fucking
but this is the thing. Like I think that's where I can suspend disbelief when the characters are actually so good that I'm questioning their motives, or like seeing how much power they actually have. And when things like this happen, I don't necessarily want to nitpick necessarily. I can say, okay, that character probably was smart enough to realize that, or maybe it was something from the past that they remember. So she nearly gets in a crash, and the sheriff is delighted. He's like, ah ha ha, that's so funny. He goes around looking for some of his paper, and then finds the bit of paper that he wrote in bed the few months ago that he left on his desk for some reason. He then goes straight to the library, and again, okay, fair enough. When I was watching the film, I was a bit confused, but okay, let's say that he remembers her saying something like that many years ago. Something, yeah. She says basically the same thing on the steps of the courthouse. If there's any, what was the quote again? Oh, there it is. There.
If there's any power higher than man, let him be judged, or let me be judged by him.
Yeah. So there is a justice higher than man. I will be judged by him. And then he's like, aha.
I never understood why it was like, if there's a justice higher than man, I will be judged by him. Would it not be judged by it?
No, because him is capitalized H, capital H. Existence, capital X, capital Z.
Also, previous podcast, check it out.
So Paul is sitting there feeling pretty sad for himself at this point. Not feeling the best, I would say. She felt a little bit depressed earlier on. I bet he feels a little bit more depressed than she did. Just a tad. So I love this part where she's walking through the snow, and oh no, let's just go to it for a second. Hey, Paul. And then she basically gets flipped off. There was just something nicely cynical about it, and sad. Hey, Paul.
She's like, what can I say? Or are you a kidder or something?
Yes, a kidder.
We get the sheriff then go to the bookstore of the very manly-looking book owner.
I thought that was David Kushner. You know, Caan from Anchorman. I was like, oh no, obviously he's not in movies back then.
Yeah, he would have probably been way too young for that role. We find out that Kathy Bates has bought up all the books for some reason, like every copy of the same book, so she can have lots of all the copies. Yeah, that's what I thought. He basically is like, she buys like every single copy that comes in here.
She only buys the first copy. Yeah, the first copy.
Yeah, but he's like, hey, do you have any of those Sheldon books in here? He's like, no, she bought them all.
No, he said he said that Annie Wilkes buy it, and he said, yeah, she also puts the first copy away. So she only bought one copy, but they all sold out.
Oh, okay. So I thought she was like buying up all the copies of the books. I was like, what are you trying to do, Annie?
Trying to build a fort.
Trying to build a fort of books. Look what I did, Paul. She then sees the sheriff coming along, and she's straight in there with the drugs. He tries to strangle her unsuccessfully, and she goes, "Fuck you," and basically just puts him at the end of the basement. Does she like carry him down there? She's some fucking woman.
Yeah, see, she pulls him down, right? And then all of a sudden, the next scene comes and she has him on her shoulder. So, I don't know.
She like brags him, "Whoa!" Fireman carry. So, the sheriff is like, "Howdy, ma'am." And she's like, "Oh, God." First mistake she makes is opening the door before he knocks.
Yeah.
It's like, "Whoa, oh, God, I don't get many people around here." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Let me in the house, please." And graciously, she allows him. They have a walk around the house. They have a bit of a chat. Nothing really going on. She's like, this is where she's talking about, I've always wanted to write. So yeah, she could be covering up for the fact that she was buying all the paper and everything, but
that's what I think.
If you want to, I
think you'd be reaching, look, what you said was a good idea, but I think it's reaching a bit.
I think it is reaching a bit. Okay, fair enough. Especially at the fact at the end, she was like, "Hey, let's murder suicide."
Yeah.
But there was nothing to say that she wouldn't have just killed him and then sold the book and then been really rich on the one book.
Yeah.
So, but either way, like just shot him and then just went, ha.
I think the bit where
this bit where they're on the side, the door, they're like, hey.
Peekaboo.
Yeah, it comes around the side and she's standing there. Hey, I'm making some coffee. Do you want some hot chocolate? It's like, no, ma'am, I'm fine. I don't want no hot chocolate. It reminds me of the Marx Brothers when they do that bit on the side. Hey-oh. So he escapes upstairs and goes into the lady's bedroom. Basically, nothing happens, and Paul, all this while, is trying to get the sheriff's attention. Sheriff leaves. You think, oh no, he's going to leave without Paul. But no, hears him downstairs. The sheriff comes back in, stands at the top of the...
She fucking blows a hole through him.
She blows a hole through that mother, like nobody's business.
Now, what happens in the book is Paul says, look behind you, he turns around, she shoots. It's very visually done. Jesus Christ. She shoots. Now, he gets shot in the arm. He falls down the stairs. The way it's written, he breaks his neck on the way down, but still alive. She follows him down and shoots him in the face.
Oh, God. I'm glad that didn't happen. Thanks, Stephen.
It's so fucking... Like, Stephen King, I know everything Stephen King is. He's a horror writer. Stephen King is fucked up.
And he's not sorry.
No,
he ain't sorry. And I wouldn't change him because you get great movies like this coming out of his novels. So she finally goes, well, there's no turning back now. So we're just going to have to kill ourselves. Paul convinces her that, hey, we can't do it. I have like a few more chapters left. By dawn, we'll kill ourselves. Well, I'll have all the book done and then we'll send it away.
Yeah, but how, when he started talking to her, he kind of went deadpan as well. And I was like, I only, obviously, I've seen the movie and I know, but if I didn't see the movie, I was thinking that he thinks this is it now. He thinks there's no escape. So he's agreed to this. Like, it would make you believe that. Obviously, he has another agenda. But, like, I'm, like, thinking... And then, obviously, he grabs the petrol thing and puts it in the fucking back of his pocket. But it was convincing.
I think throughout the movie, he's always had that kind of alter ego himself. He puts him into that kind of, when she's about to burn the book. And he's like, no, it's fine. I've sent out copies ages ago. He does that same look now. The same look that she goes into when she goes like, murder, suicide. He's like, no, let's... Yeah, let's have a smoke and some champagne. So she sets up the room. He types up the finale of the book. And do you ever think if he just typed up whatever he wanted, goes, oh fuck, I just have to do what, come up with a really good plan by the end by dawn, basically. So maybe he didn't write the book at all. Kind of sets a trap for her by saying, there's 3 things I need. The champagne glass, the cigarette. Well, he doesn't tell her, she tells him, I don't know, I'm your biggest fan. So it's a champagne glass. What was the name of the champagne? And she clearly pronounces it wrong.
The name of the champagne is Don Perignon, but she said Dom Pragnon.
Yeah. And it's like, and he even goes, that's right, Don Pagron. So they get ready, and she grabs the gun as well, just in case. Or just for the whole murder suicide. Fuck you, bitch. I'll need 2 glasses. So he gets a few things ready, goes to light the book on fire. What does he basically say? Like, I've already pretty much done it to another book, so why wouldn't I do it to this one?
I learned from you, he says. He goes,
yeah.
You'll never know if she ends, or who's Misery's real father. That's all here, he says. And you'll never fucking know.
So she goes to dive for the book, and it's on fire. So he fucking, right, how this doesn't just knock her the fuck out to begin with. This is why I'm saying it feels like a little bit of a horror movie, like she raises from the dead like 3 times. He fucking, now, that looks like a wrought iron, like a heavy motherfucker of a typewriter, and just brings it down on her head.
This was set up from the second that she brought that typewriter, because when she brings the typewriter, she says how heavy it is. And later on, you see him like lifting the typewriter, and you're thinking, he's just like exercising because he's been so stationary or whatever. So it's been set up a couple of times that the typewriter is important.
But they do that. They do that for all of the hooks for the film. Like the pills. Like he's hiding the pills before he even says anything about doing anything with them. And it's a solitary movie. There's not a lot of exposition going on. You're like following the character, not knowing what he's going to do next. But it's done so quickly that you kind of get an idea of it. So the fight scene is great. Hits her over the head with a fucking typewriter, strangling each other.
He baits the fucking head off her. He actually starts smacking her head out the fucking ground. But she tries to. Does he hit? No, he gives her he palms her right in the face. But my favorite part, and what's very fucking violent, is he starts fucking eat the book, and he shoves it in her fucking.
Right? Yeah. Like the burnt book on. Eat it, you crazy bitch.
Eat it, you crazy fucking bitch.
Yeah.
But when he swings, he picks up his leg and swings it on her, and she knocks her. She falls over his legs onto the fucking typewriter.
So, well, even before that, so there's she's she gets up and goes to run, and then she smacks her head right off the fucking typewriter.
Yeah.
She still ain't out. She's still not dead. She will raise again. She runs at him, and then he has to fucking kill her with the pig statue. So it's my God.
Yeah. Well, this is what I can't understand.
Gives her some slap in the face with the pig statue. Put the home.
Did he drive her nose back into her brain or something? Was that what happened? What the fuck?
I think it's because look at the top of her forehead. Boom! And it's dead.
It's almost like Carrie, that shot, isn't it?
It's a lot of blood. And did you notice when she fell down onto the typewriter, it was a dummy?
Oh, I didn't even cop that, no.
Yeah. It was a dummy. So she's dead. And then we get him walking down the town. 18 months later.
In the book, you find out how he gets saved, or his wife actually is a bigger part in the book.
That is one thing that that is curiously missing from it, like a love interest or anything about the outside world. He mentions his daughter probably twice, but I feel like a modern film would go out of its way to start showing flashbacks of him with his daughter or him with his wife or whatever.
It's so good that
it's irrelevant to the story that's put in front of you.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
I think
that's the end. We pretty much come to the restaurant. The agent is there, and he's like, I don't care if anybody reads this book. I wrote it for me. This is my book. And what was the name? What's the name of the book? The Higher Education.
J. Philip Stowe or something.
Stone.
But I love that because I had forgot. I was saying to myself, "Oh, it'd be a great tale for him to write about what happened." And then she says to him, which I forgot completely. Yeah. I think you should tell the events. He was like, "You want me to tell the most horrific story of my life to make a book?" and then he's fucking Annie Wilkes, fucking about.
Well, that's what I like about it. The waitress comes along and she looks like Annie Wilkes, and then it's like a completely different person. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm your biggest fan." He's like, okay.
I was like thinking, is this the secret ending that I didn't never see? I was like, shit, she's gonna attack him?
God, she comes back, Annie from the dead. And then we get the credits. Woo! So that was Misery. What a fantastic film. So, after all of that loveliness, I think this is probably, other than It's a Wonderful Life, but you can't really compare this movie to It's a Wonderful Life. I think this is probably the best film that we've seen yet of the 90s films, I think.
Yeah.
Simple story, simple premise, not complicated at all. Some fantastic actors, and I kind of want to read the book now. Even you talking about it there, Darren. It definitely is one that I'd have to get a read on. So it's rating time. We're going to rate. Well, actually, let's show Derry's picture first off, and then we'll do the rating. So yeah, wow, it's looking fabulous there, Derry. Let's get a bit of a close up.
Bring it up. Oh, it's so good.
Thank you. So I think, hang on, I'm gonna switch it up here. It goes up further and the sheets start burning.
Is that like the mountains and stuff?
No, it's the
pages.
And it's burning.
You just go fuck off yourself, Miss. Seriously. That is fucking disgracefully amazing.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, you always come up with such fantastic ideas, and even when it seems nearly impossible to draw a picture about a film about a woman that just captures a writer and tries to kill him, you come up with such a fantastic piece of work. Like I would be impressed with that on the front of the movie itself. You should rent your pictures out for
I'm
movie art, right?
Yeah, but you're not just taking, like, is what I thought would happen. I thought you were going to take like stills and draw stills. Every movie that we've done, you've taken your own interpretation and drawn something, incorporate loads of bits of the movie to it. Like that thing where, it's just fucking awesome.
Thank you.
It's fucking deadly.
Amazing job.
That's a tattoo right there.
Yeah.
Hey, that'd be a great leg tattoo all the way up the back. Like if you had maybe like a little bit of smoke, a wisp of smoke coming up or something like on your leg.
I think we should
I love that.
Whoever loses has to get like a tattoo, one of these.
Whoever loses, that seems unfair. That's pretty awesome. Poor Derry. Whoever loses got to get one of these tattoos.
You know what? I don't care because you both have tattoos that I drew. So
yeah, well, I just mean getting a tattoo in general is a bitch anyway. Like so.
Well, actually, all of the tattoos I have.
Nothing to do with the work. It's nothing to do with the drawing. I just mean like getting a tattoo is a bitch sore. Like so, like. The bigger the tattoo, or you can slip into Mickey.
Don't even try and walk it back, Darren. Don't even walk it back. We all heard you. It's recorded. I have it right here. It's live. Clip it. So yeah, thanks very much for joining us again this week. It's been a fabulous one. We're already on episode 7, and we're getting through some of the more well-known films, I think. And we're always looking for suggestions. It is Darren's pick next week, and
we haven't discussed it.
And this is actually going to be Let's rate this movie first off. And Darren, I'm going to ask you to have a good think about the movie that you want to watch next week.
I know what movie I'm watching. I know what movie. I actually
tell us what the movie is, Darren.
I totally forgot it wasn't my pick last week. And you've mentioned this movie already. Will I say it?
Say the movie.
It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Great pick. Great pick. And it ties nicely into this. Crazy Nurses, right?
And you know what? It's a blind watch for me.
Have you never... You've seen it, yeah? You've never watched it?
Nope.
Oh my God. Okay, well, you're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I've been meaning to, and everything. I've seen Ratched, the series, but I haven't seen this movie.
This, I can't remember one's name. She won an Oscar for her role as Nurse Ratched in this.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah. So next week, we're going to be watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. We may be having a little bit of a change in schedule for next week. So we'll put that up on our social network. So keep an eye on that. It's only going to be a day in the difference. It's probably going to be changed to a Sunday so that everybody can enjoy it on their weekend instead of, having to enjoy such a lovely podcast at the start of their week. You can at least chill out and relax with us at the end of the week. So keep on top of YouTube, keep on Twitch, on our Facebook, on our Twitter accounts, and we're generally always updating schedules and advising on what's going to be up next. But next week then it's going to be One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So for this week's rating, I'm going to give Misery 8 red pills out of 10 8 pills, and then one of the capsules he's opened and some of the white powder is kind of falling out of it. I'm going to give one of those.
Complicated.
10 out of 10. So what's Darren?
I'll give it a 9 out of 10, man. A 9 sledgehammers out of 10.
9 sledgehammers out of 10. Hey, I like that. Sledgehammer. Darren's.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah. Just, you know what? I gave It's a Wonderful Life 10, but this didn't have the same emotional punch, but I think it was really, really well put together.
It was a roller coaster. Absolutely. And again, I didn't expect it to have, like, in a movie where it's about someone kidnapping another person and they're mental, you never think of having like an emotional connection as you would with the sheriff, for example, like those kind of things. I like those moments in it. So yeah, overall, fantastic film. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Get ready for next week's film, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I like Jack Nicholson. He's a really good actor. And then it'll be my pick. So dun dun. So join us again. Monday or Sunday of this week at 8 o'clock on Twitch. Keep up to date. We'll have the schedule down below on Twitch anyway. So if we are going to update anything, keep an eye down there. And thanks very much for joining us. So we'll see you again soon, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us at Real Shade. Bye. Have a lovely week. Bye.